Hello and welcome. Hang on, let me get this song's going a little long in the tooth there. Hello and welcome to another one of these streams. I think we have a thing worth celebrating today. Today happens to be the day we finally crossed 100,000 subscribers. It's actually kind of wild that we got this far so quickly. To everyone watching right now, I know we have 145 people in chat. Wow. To everyone watching, you are the individuals responsible for this accomplishment. So really, I should be thanking you all. And genuinely, thank you so deeply from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me all this time, for watching some of these quite wild videos from time to time, just to, and thank you also to the Birdman for giving me a shout out to give me the boost at the end there. He definitely deserves some thanks on that front as well. Oh yeah. Completed before my son was born. That's a big accomplishment. And this will probably be one of the, and depending on when my spouse gives birth, this may be either the last stream for a few weeks or the second to last. I'm not sure which yet. It all depends on a number of factors because I have no idea when the child will be born. Nature will take its course. The due date is October 3rd, but, anything can happen. So how's everyone doing today? Welcome, Dastrin, as a reader. Welcome, welcome. If you want to join as a member of our YouTube channel, you can get access to our Discord server that I'm sure some folks here can assure you is sometimes very fun. Yeah, I wanted to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers once I knew for sure I was over, because it was one of those things where, like, once it crossed 100, I'm thinking, like, okay, now someone's going to unsubscribe, and sure enough, they did for a bit, but it went back and forth for a little bit, and it was quite fun. Thank you. Oh, wow, 5 gifted members. Welcome, everyone, welcome. And I'll be posting a link to the Discord at the end of the stream, though I think last week's link should still be open for a limited time until, I don't know, I posted that one late, so probably later enough then, anyway. Yeah, it's been a long day, and I was just looking at a Lazy Bedhead stream just now about Star Giant Productions, a rabbit hole that, I'm not gonna lie, they opened up a script that apparently Star Giant Productions, a disgraced animations YouTuber, was drafting about the Saberspark controversy. And then Saberspark showed up in chat, so that was kind of surreal. So I was basically in the same chat room as Saberspark, and I'm like, ooh, cool. You big channel. You're like a real YouTuber. But you're probably wondering, where do I plan on placing the silver plaque in my videos? We see that space on the wall right there. I'm planning on putting it right there. So it's nice and in view when I'm streaming. So that'd be kind of cool. Apparently Star Giant A has detransitioned, so now is going by he, him pronouns, which was a little awkward. And it's funny because Star Giant was also trying to suck it up to Lily Orchard, of all people. Which is quite a take. Why anyone would want to get in Lily Orchard's good graces, I have no idea. But hey, that's what she wanted to do. Will you be torturing us this week like last week? Probably not as badly. We're going more for traditional grifting as opposed to the insanity we experienced last time. That was heinous. Ooh, we got another. Oh, thank you.
Shell super chatted $1.
Thank you for the super chat, Shell. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's going to be one of those weird days, I think. And I really don't know what I'm getting myself into with this one. I know it's going to be bad. I know that. Oh, I have all caps on. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to get into, but I do know it's going to be pretty rough. Oh, yeah, no. So we got the Birdman there. I don't think that's going to... The thing is, I'm seeing a lot of people react to videos that are like this, so I don't entirely know what to expect. Oh God, Asmongold has a video. Do I want to subject myself to that? Oh, the Quartering has one, so we have some history here. Oh yeah, no, we have a lot of history. We have a lot to choose from. A lot of the old favorites. Okay, we're in good hands.
Jeffrey Pyatt super chatted $2.
Ah, thank you.
People think VG women are ugly. Nepgear is hot.
There's a lot of weird tastes I've seen about this topic.
Terminal Sanity super chatted $10. Congrats to attaining 100k subs. Silver plaque achieved.
Ah, thank you. I'm excited. I'm really glad to have achieved, and a bunch of people did congratulate me who are friends of the channel. So I want to give some thanks there. Kyla T, of course, was like Kyla, who I've been friends with for a very long time. She wanted to try toasting my success, but I was at my day job. So
DWP 102,589 super chatted $2.03. Have you seen Movie Bob's vid about this thing?
I have not seen Movie Bob's video about this thing. Maybe let's talk about some Movie Bob. I haven't talked about Movie Bob in a while. I know Movie Bob watches and likes the channel, so that's kind of neat. So we'll take a look at his as a contrast. That might be a good
David Deister
counterbalance.
super chatted $15. Do you think the late Charlie Kirk is a gifter that uses his platform to promote violence, and was his killing justified?
I'm not answering that question at all. I'm not answering any part of that question. Yeah, I'm not touching anything about that story with a 9-foot pole. So we're not. Don't send me chats about it. I'm not answering them. People are. It's not a topic I want to touch. But thanks for super chat though, all the same. Yeah, this is a discussion about video game women, not real life.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. Synthetic Man has some stupid ones on this topic.
Oh my God, I gotta do that. Okay, Synthetic Man is definitely what I gotta talk about. Oh yeah.
Hex D Jess super chatted $5.99. I have a good friend who thinks Lily is a credible critic and that she did nothing wrong.
Wait, what?
She's an intelligent person. How can I convince her?
Have you had her listen to her voice, to her words, to her ideas? Like there's a lot that's really bad about Lily Orchard's content. I have a hard time imagining anyone could listen to her and not like pick up on the fact that she's absolutely out of her mind. Yeah, so Synthetic Man might be the one we go to. Yeah, that might be what we look at, because all of his videos are like absolutely repulsive. Yeah, we'll do a Synthetic Man video. That sounds good. Yeah, I don't know how to help you with that one. Sorry. Yeah, Lily. The thing with Lily is, well, ask your friend this: has your friend seen Princess Mononoke or any Studio Ghibli film? Because show them the serialized movies video that Lily did, where she says that Princess Mononoke is just a generic action film. And you'll right there find hardcore evidence that Lily does not know what she's talking about. So, there you go. You got that going for it.
Evan, the Neil Deal super chatted $4.99. A bit late, but congrats on achieving 100k subs.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, no. So Critical Drinker did one on video game women. I think he's like a good boilerplate to start with because he's so generic with his opinions. We'll start with him, and then we'll jump into Synthetic Man, and probably a few others too. Getting this up real quick. So let me bring this in right now. Now, next week's video is going to be quite the trip. Sorry, this week's video is going to be quite the trip. What we're going to be doing this week is another response video that I kind of teased online. I'm very excited about. I think is really indicative of a lot of problems. Oh, thank you so much for the gifted members. Thank you so much, X-Men Superfan Emma Frost. What's this?
Sam last name super chatted $4.99. Stargiant met Steve from Blue's Clues and even AP paired in one of his videos, like Doug Walker. How do they get these people? Are they blackmailing?
I think they just happen to be at the right place at the right time. For a while, a lot of these cartoons... I know people who've actually met Doug Walker and Brad Jones in the past, just bumping into conventions. You just meet them at the right time. You can talk to anyone. But even still, it's... I don't know, man. I don't know. I think this happened to be the right time for them. Or they just talked at the right moment.
Samuel Monarch super chatted $5. Hi, hello. Congrats on 100K.
Thank you so much.
To sidetrack a bit, did you hear about the whole sucker punch debacle when a senior dev talked smack after Charlie Kirk died?
All right. I don't want to talk about that topic. I want to talk about like
Newman super
video
chatted
games.
$2. Waiting to learn we peaked at DOA beach volleyball.
All right. That is true. You did peak at beach volleyball, yeah.
Jeffrey Pyatt super chatted $2. JRPGs powered by Yuri like Neptunia are better.
JRPGs can be really good. It depends. It really depends on the game. Obviously, of course, there are some... and this is not just me choosing this topic so I can look at beautiful video game characters. They are... also, please... okay, again, regarding real-life controversies, let's not discuss them, all right? Let's avoid the discussion of real life right now. We're talking about video game women. just for future reference. I'd rather not
Sam
discuss that. I'm not the right
super
person to
chatted
ask.
$1.99, and even Christina V.
Christina V is pretty awesome. I loved her song covers back in the day when I was like really young. A lot like Amelie, she used to do song covers and then became a professional voice actress. It's pretty wild. Yeah, no, this is a discussion about video game women. This is serious business. I'm not the person to talk about real life political discussions. I'm underqualified to discuss it. First off, I am not that skilled with everything. You want to talk to Dead Domain about that, or Hassan or someone like that. Not me. I'm talking about media criticism, not I don't want to speak on a topic I'm unqualified to discuss, is what I'm coming at. No, it's all good. Don't apologize, but just, I'm not the most... I know how to discuss books, films, games, all that, but when it comes to real life, I trust the experts discuss that more than myself.
The Wave Runners super chatted $10. Congrats on hitting the 100K club.
Thank you.
You've earned it. Also, video game grifting is a weird, sad rabbit hole that gets worse than the film critique one. I wish you luck. Wuk Lamet equals Last Jedi to them.
Oh God, there's some rough patches.
Millennium Storyteller super chatted $5. I used to follow these types of YouTubers. It wasn't until your video on forced diversity that helped me see the truth.
I'm glad that helped. Yeah, a lot of these YouTubers, they sound convincing until you really look at their arguments. And when it comes to beauty, it's such a subjective perspective. What's more important than beauty, I think, in terms of a good design is the diversity of character design. Not necessarily racial diversity, but diversity in terms of style, appearance, how appearance influences how you interpret the character. And I always cite this as my biggest go-to example with video game designs. And because I think these are some of the best character designs ever. Let me bring it up real quick.
Berta Dina super chatted $2. Heart.
Thank you. Oh, here you go. This is what I'm looking at. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Perfect. Cool.
Dowman 5 super chatted $2. No political talk. Anyway, let's talk ugly women.
Yeah, basically, right? Or rather, beautiful women in this case. So right here, this is my go-to example for amazing character design, and that's Darkstalkers. Darkstalkers is one of my favorite games of all time in terms of designs of characters and all that. Like, look at this design. Look how cool that is. This is a cool design. These characters all look distinct. They all look different.
Jeffrey Pyatt super chatted $3. Christina V is Sailor Mars and Kampa in Neptunia.
Yes, she is. Her Sailor Mars is fantastic. I love it. But yeah, no, all these designs are distinct and interesting and unique, and they tell you exactly what the character is like and how they play, based purely on the shapes you see, and you get the sense of their personality. They really inform you about who you're about to play very quickly, and I love that. It's fantastic. Simple but effective character design. It's great. Darkstalkers is the gold standard for character design in my book. Metatron. Okay, take a look at him too. Let's add him to the list. I'll add him real quick once I can. 1 second. No, not Editron, Metatron. Sorry. Here we go. Oh, this guy. Oh, yeah, I know this guy. Cool. I don't think I've ever seen his content, though. That's all right. That's okay. Apparently he's live. Okay, that's interesting.
Red Power Button super chatted $5. Personally, I'm more upset about how Insomniac practically looked at various versions of Lois Lane down to the hairstyle and just made her ginger.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, yeah, Insomniac's Mary Jane kind of is more of Lois Lane than she is Mary Jane Watson. Because, like, Mary Jane Watson's a model, an actress. She's not really a journalist or investigator. But that's all interesting. Trying to send you a super chat, but it's not letting you. Does it contain any foul language? That might be it. Because sometimes YouTube bans foul language with super chats. That might be the problem. Yeah. MJ otherwise is really good, I think, in Spider-Man, in the Insomniac Spider-Man games. I don't have a problem with her. But you're going to see over the course of this video, a lot of people cared a lot about Mary Jane in particular. And because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, of course we're going to be talking about Mary Jane. And she was a CEO, that's true, with Tony Stark and all that. So let's take a look at the first video here, which is actually, surprisingly for the Critical Drinker... Oh, the Critical Gamer? This is the same channel, right? Is this like a side channel of his? Okay, let's see what it's like.
You know, one of the best things about video games is that they allow us to transcend the petty limitations of the real world, creating fantastical landscapes that defy logic, terrifying monsters, awe-inspiring wonders, and iconic characters bound only by the limitations of the human imagination.
Oh yeah? That's fair.
Zog super chatted $2. Warcraft community just did this with an elf.
Why is my... That's weird. Am I not being updated on this end? That's funny. Hang on a second. For whatever reason, my thing isn't updating on my end. That's odd. Okay, that's weird. Must have frozen. No big deal. That's cool. But no, there's a lot of, you may want to consider Metatron. Watch video today by Frida and Metatron and Shad Jr. Yeah, I've been hearing that he's like kind of like Shad Jr. basically, which is annoying, but like, I might. I don't know. It'd have to be the right video. A lot of these are kind of like, scrolling through his videos, a lot of these look kind of, generic, it looks like. I don't know. They don't really look that they're super going to tell us anything that Synthetic Man won't also tell us. Anyway, let's get back to this video. Yeah. So yeah, beautiful women.
It truly is the very purest form of creativity. Unless, of course, you happen to be a Western game developer, in which case your escapist fantasy entertainment absolutely has to reflect the world we live in today. The world we live in today. The world we live in today. The world we live in today.
So here's one thing I hate about their style of criticism. They'll take like a frame that's either like deliberately awkward or modded. For example, which one was it right here?
The world we live in today.
For example, that right there, that's not what she looks like in game.
Tran super chatted $10. Have you seen the leak photos on the Adventures of Cliff Booth? It's a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel, but this time directed by my favorite director David Fincher. Also Brad Pitt is hot as fuck.
I have not seen any of the leaks of that, but I'm curious about the film. David Fincher's fantastic as a director.
Terminal Sanity super chatted $5. Striking and memorable design always holds up better than just conventionally attractive.
Exactly. And with this game, right, and with this, they had to mod the game to make her look worse, so because they had to make fun of her so much. Because that's not what she looks like in game.
We live the in world today. We live in.
And that's just a font. Okay, here's the thing right here that bugs me. All these designs are perfectly suitable for the worlds that they're creating, right? Like, we, as gamers, insisted for years they wanted hyper-realistic graphics. They wanted to be more real, more like real life, you know? And when you do that, eventually, what ends up happening is you create real life. So now they're mad that their games reflect real life. They're so angry that the games have changed and all this and that. But like, you asked for this. This is what you wanted. We kept pushing for better graphics, pushing for more realistic imagery. You want to know, they showed Aerith before, right? Do you want to know what Aerith looked like when I was a kid? Want to know what Aerith looked like? I'll show you what Aerith looked like. This was your beautiful character model right here. I'm going to show it to you. Here we go. You ready for this? This is your model.
Replica_rabbit super chatted $2. Why he show Tifa and Aerith in swimsuits?
Yeah, right? I can't imagine why he might do that, except for the fact that, Wait, is that in Zoe show? I'm not sure what you mean by that. But no, this is basically just what, this is what he was. This is what they were. They were little sprites on the screen. Well, in this case, they were little basic polygon models. But this wasn't like an attractive thing. This was like a couple blocks. Granted, they had the pre-rendered cutscenes, but not the in-game graphics. So we went a long way from when I was a kid, but that's how it was. That's how it evolved. We asked for better graphics, more realistic stuff. Now we got them, but now we don't want them.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. The goons want goon, realistic, instead of stylized.
Yeah. Well,
Millennium Storyteller super chatted $2. Woman isn't supermodel grifter, ugly.
Exactly. 100%.
Jim Guy 87 super chatted $2. Realistic graphics is overrated.
I agree. I actually do prefer stylized graphics overall. I think graphics look better when they're not realistic. I think it's a cool thing. I prefer, like, everyone, when Legend of Zelda was coming out, right? All the guys were pissed off that the new Zelda game didn't look like an updated version of Ocarina of Time. It was so cartoony. But those graphics have aged so well, and they look so appealing to the eye, whereas its contemporaries don't really do. And again, like, there's a lot of really good games with stylized character designs. Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, those are two off the top of my head with really good designs that are highly appealing and also extremely unrealistic. They're cartoonish. I would say Zelda also has that kind of elevated, kind of heightened reality of design. And people like those designs. Nintendo games have a very heightened design choice. I do think there is a discussion to be had with certain games being a little too unrealistic, maybe a little too realistic, but none of the games he described here are like that. They're all just very grounded-looking games. And Outlaws especially is strange because I don't see anything wrong with this appearance. I don't see anything.
UXGC super chatted $2.73. Losers act like Gooner designs don't get made SMH.
Yeah, exactly. They get designed all the time. That's the thing. They get made all the time.
Fred Skull super chatted $4.99. Congrats on 100k Ant.
Ah, thank you.
I've never had a cared about a video game character ever in my life. Hit me up when you talk about the Mummy, nerds. Kid.
My spouse wants me to talk about the Mummy so badly. It's a good excuse to rewatch the video. Also, Dead Meat is covering the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie this week, if you want to see that too. Another channel talk about it. In the near future, anyway. Anyway, let's get back to this real quick.
Today, you've probably noticed that there's been a bit of a shift in the portrayal of video game characters in recent years, particularly the female ones. A process
Not really, just a handful of games.
That probably has a far more technical name, but which a simple man like myself can best describe as Uglification. It's like gaming is somehow de-evolving even as technology and production costs rise to astronomical levels, producing characters that look less human and more physically repulsive with each new release.
How does Abby look less human? Like, here's the thing. We're talking about people, you asked for games to advance in technology. You asked for models to be used as bases for real people. Motion capture, all this kind of stuff. You asked for characters to look distinct. Abby's a realistic, distinct character. And let's be honest, her design tells some of her story. Her large muscles are part of her characterization. And the proof of that is when you look at the live-action adaptation of The Last of Us and see Abby as not extremely buff. And it does reduce her character. It does take away from what the muscles added to her character. Character design can inform characterization. And again, we're talking about 5 or 6 games released over the course of a very long period of time. there's a few factors to consider here. I want everyone to ask these questions as we go. Are the characters underdesigned? Are the characters poorly designed? Or are the characters just not what they want to see because they can goon over it? I think with Abby, the case is the third. They can't goon over Abby because she's not designed to be attractive. She's designed to be an intimidating threat. So what are they going to do? There are characters who exist, who are very stylized and beautiful, and these characters exist all the time. Like, we have no shortage of games that have beautiful character models. But the Western market demanded realism for a very long time. They demanded more realistic graphics and made them. What they want isn't necessarily beautiful characters. They want unrealistic characters. Again, a great example of a Western dev making a bunch of beautiful characters, as people in chat are mentioning, let me bring them up, is, of course, hang on, drum roll, please. Hang on, let me get a full. Hang on, let me get an actually good image for all of a minute.
Soak Chua super chatted $4.99. If you can't tell the difference between game characters and IRL women, you might not see a lot off women.
Yeah, right? That's the thing, too. Here we go.
UGXGC super chatted $2.73. So a trans person is less human? Did I hear right?
Wait, when did trans people come up in this conversation? Abby's not trans. Abby's not a trans woman. She's just a woman. She's cis. So I don't know what you mean. Where is the trans? I'm a little confused. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Olivia Williams super chatted $3.64. It's incredible they are complaining about reboot Lara Croft now. They are calling her ugly now.
Oh yeah. No, they are, and it's ridiculous. Oh, what's her name? That oddly knower. Oddly knower talks about this character, this lady a lot. Abertali, or we might look at her stuff. I forget her name though. Altiori. There we go. Yeah, Altiori talks a lot about this too. I mean,
the word is defined.
Go away. I just opened up an Altiori vid for later. There's a lot of vids that she does that are very controversial, apparently, which is frustrating. About that same topic too. But again, it's interesting, right? They look at this design and go, ugly, disgusting, but it's realistic. The facial proportions are more realistic. She just looks larger, and she's not drawn in a way that's meant to entice their viewership.
Physically repulsive with each new release.
Ruined and terrible.
Here we go.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. Drinker hates 3 things: golf, muscle women, and any dudes who aren't Rambo the soldier and not Rambo the character, movie 1 specifically.
Oh yeah, Rambo the character in movie 1 is fantastic.
Strange Trees super chatted $1.45. Don't they also call real women in makeup catfish?
Yeah, it's very, the more you dig in, the more you realize how absolutely ridiculous this is. And it gets to the point we kind of question, do gamers even like women? Because I guarantee you, if anyone saw a woman like Abby with giant biceps, I don't know, I just think it's ridiculous. They call her an orc? Like, come on.
For life.
I mean, Jesus.
Oh, hang on a second. We got a bunch of super chats in.
James Kuhn super chatted $9.99. Yeah, but you do have examples where the male and female base on real models. The male models look like their character they are based on, unlike the females models who they are based on.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say a lot of the female models look about right, too.
Nitro, Java, super chatted $5. I love the Spider-Man games, but the worst part about them are the character models. Realistic graphics age worse than stylized ones.
I agree. They do age worse. I think also we've gotten to the point where graphics are, not going to get much better than they are right now. Each generation they have more polygons, but the difference is so negligible you can barely notice it. Just basically at this point, frame rate adjusts. But yeah, no. So here's an example of characters who are all, unfortunately, this is the best I could find, and they're missing my girls Shadowheart and let me adjust the screen so you can see Karlach here. There's Karlach. There's my girl. She's great. Love Karlach. But yeah, no, beautiful character models, all really well and good. Actually, you know what? I gotta get a picture of my girl on this. I'm sorry. I have to get Karlach on here. Sorry. Karlach is great. I love Karlach. And again, what's interesting is if you compare Karlach to Abby, people love Karlach, but don't love Abby. Even though Karlach is even more buff than Abby by a lot. I think the difference is, again, the stylization of the face. Because you look at Karlach, and again, this is a more extreme version of what they talk about. Lots of piercings, horns, red skin,
User
scars.
225 super chatted $4.99. Guys who complain about ugly women in games do so cause they don't see any IRL. Also imagine not being able to goon to realistic women. Pathetic.
It is very pathetic. But again, you look at this right here. Karlach is everything Abby is. Probably bigger muscles, more ferocious, more violent easily. Well, not more violent, not more intense. Heavy scars, massive bolts and augmentations and vents along her body to exude heat from her boiling chest. Piercings and all that. And yet, widely beloved by the video game audience. Abby, not so much. And the reason for that, I think, is in part better animated faces, more time with different expressions, very expressive face.
Farmega super chatted $10. I just want to throw out there that I feel like these grifters have a very, very limited idea of what's attractive, too, then project those standards onto everyone else.
100% true. You're right. You're 100% correct. And I think a big factor as well, you look at the way this face is lit, too. Lighting has a big effect, too. It helps with these moments. It's shot from a low-angle shot looking up. Heavy shadows around the eyes. You can see laugh lines and all that. But again, that's what a real person would look like. That's how a real face would look when lit, when illuminated. And it's not always going to be a perfect expression when you pause it in the middle like this.
Just look at the state of it.
Oh yeah, when you take a pause like that and you zoom in on a still frame that's caught in an awkward moment, it's going to look awkward. It's going to look wonky. And that's simply what it is. It's not necessarily a beautiful model, but the character's not trying to be a beautiful model. And from that, you can get an idea of what the character's like. Very practically dressed, very minimal stylizing, sword, a shirt, vest, little holster for the blade, hair pulled back so it doesn't get into the eyes, and that's it. It's not like it's supposed to be super appealing. This isn't a fan service character because that's not what she's about, Appearance and design informs characterization, and that's an important thing to remember when discussing any character.
Burnt Panini super chatted $4.99. Karlach is best girl. She's too good for these gooners.
100%. I'm going to pause super chats for a bit, just as we leave them, of course. Can you send super chats, but I'll read them when I next pause the video, just to keep things going at a brisk pace.
I don't think anyone wants to go on an adventure with this girl. A quick glance at your average AAA development page is like taking a walk down your average high street in Scotland. The faces...
Again, all these faces are, a lot of them are from the same game. A lot of them are deliberately awkward angles, awkwardly deliberate lighting. So, I don't know what to tell you.
You see vaguely correspond to your understanding of what human beings look like, but the features, proportions, and arrangements are so far off that you're left with a disturbingly intense urge to get out of there as quickly as possible and never look back. And it's interesting to...
Also worth noting, not all those faces are what the faces look like in-game, so I don't have to tell you.
Note that this phenomenon seems to be confined to one half of the population only, almost like it's intentional or something. The problem seems to have been bubbling away for a while now, but like an explosive diuretic fart, it could only be held back for so...
Oh god, is that Stellar Blade? Is that Stellar Blade? Okay, with Stellar Blade, y'all threw a freaking baby fit because the costume had a few extra bits of skin exposed that were covered up in the final release. You were so angry, not necessarily you specifically, but gamers in general, when, what was it? They added a little strap along they added a little more fabric over the navel or whatever, or like a little over the chest that wasn't there before. And it's like, you have more scandalous costumes aside from that, but because one costume got slightly updated, you threw a fit over it and said the game was ruined. Like, it's amazing how ridiculous this whole thing is. And look, Stellar Blade isn't a bad... I will say this. Stellar Blade is not a bad game. It's not a bad game. But it's also not a great game. It's just whatever. And the character designs aren't great. They're whatever, you know? This design is very stylized, though. It's very unrealistic. It does not look like a real person. But there's also almost no detail here. The faces look very minimal in expression. They're kind of frozen in place. Whereas the games with more expressive character models shift. Because the thing is, the models, when they shift and are less expressive, or more expressive, can look different in different ways, and they can freeze frame them at the most awkward configuration of expression. That's the big thing.
So long before it made its violent entry into the world, destroying a pair of your best Calvin Kleins in the process. And the explosive release finally came with the advent of the Sweet Baby debacle, which has shed light on a lot of things that Western game developers probably would have rather kept secret. But there...
Sweet Baby Inc. is such an overblown bit of nonsense. They read scripts. They were sensitivity readers on scripts. At no point did Sweet Baby Inc. design any of the characters. It is so ridiculous. I'm going to play a couple super chats real quick.
Jeffrey Pyatt super chatted $2. I like my girls without bust-related spine issues.
Yeah. Less spinal damage is important.
Blue Baron super chatted $2. Bubbling away for a while. I wish they touch Graw.
Yeah, exactly. Sweet Baby Inc. did script consultation. They did not write the scripts necessarily. It's a big misnomer there. They didn't actually force them to do anything. They're a consultation company. They provided feedback on their material and recommended suggestions to what to improve upon. However, Sweet Baby Inc. as a third party never actually directly changed anything. They just simply made a few alterations here and there. That's a key distinction to make that's important. Hang on a second, let me make a quick adjustment here to something.
Jensai Kuroki super chatted $3.64. The moment I got fed up with this whole uglification argument is when I saw the vitriol and racism surrounding Tanya super chatted $5. I used to follow these types of YouTubers. It wasn't until your video on forced diversity that helped me see the truth. Jeremy Dandino super chatted $4.99. The failure of imagination to not recognize there's so many forms of physical beauty, like let Alloy have a not perfect nose, you know?
Yeah.
So boring.
Yeah, Alloy is not perfect. Alloy is designed not to be perfect, and from not all angles is she gorgeous. That's by design. That's a deliberate choice to make her feel more tangible. And I just changed the opacity for the text box. I think it was like a little too opaque. I might change it back and forth a little bit later. So I'm still tinkering with these designs after all. But yeah, no, you're totally right. Let's keep going.
There it is, all the same, and now that it's out there, it's fair game for people like me to comment on. So just like on my main channel, where I talked about the problems blighting modern Hollywood movies, I figured I'd make a video series here about why modern gaming sucks. And truly, where better to start with any good book than the cover? Part 1. Everyone's fucking ugly. Now, rather than just point and laugh at how ugly characters have become in recent years, let's see if we can break this one down scientifically. And that being the case, the first major...
I'm sorry, are you saying that Tifa and Aerith are ugly too? I'm assuming you're not, because that would be really a controversial take for you gamers. I do say this, I think Tifa should be, stronger looking. I think for a character who's a brawler, I think she does look a little anemic for someone who's able to like suplex vehicles. Like, let me show you an example right here. So right here, I found a very quick mod. I'm not sure. Like, look how it is a simple little mod I found. I have not installed it or played with it, but like, look how different Tifa looks here. Like a little adjustment. You don't have to make too much of a change. That crashed there. 1 second. Like simple, small adjustments, very strong looking, powerful. A little character design change goes a long way. As opposed to Tifa here, who looks anemic for a brawler. Small character, and again, nothing. You can't say she looks ugly by any means. Maybe you can adjust it slightly. It's a fan mod, so it's a little different, but still, small adjustment goes a long way, I would say. And that's a simple change you could do, character design-wise. I'm not saying that all the character designs are perfect and can't change. Some do need to change, but I do wonder if they could have made Aerith a little, little stronger looking. That's all I'm saying. Give her muscles, Square, you cowards.
The problem seems to be a general rejection of femininity and female beauty in modern game development. A perfect example of this is the character model for MJ in the—
But here's a question. Why did you show Tifa and Aerith as an example of a modern character design, even though that game came out the same time as Spider-Man 2? Why would you show it in this situation unless you're trying to tell us, the viewer, that Tifa and Aerith both look ugly? Because I gotta question your judgment there if that's the case. All right. Now we're going to get on to the topic of Spider-Man 2. Let's take a listen to this.
The two Spider-Man games. It's the same character in the same game series made by the same dev studio, but with a radically different appearance in each one. In the first game, you can quite clearly see the facial model has all the traits commonly associated with traditional femininity. Rounded facial structure, full lips, large eyes and a small nose. Now compare it to MJ in the second game, and well, I think you can spot the differences. This version has a large prominent chin, a wider and stronger jawline, thinner lips, heavier eyebrows and eyes that are proportionally smaller because the rest of her face is now bigger. In short, she's got a far more masculine appearance than before.
A far more masculine? She still looks like a woman, dude. Have you ever seen a woman? I mean, again, what pisses me off the most about this is that both Mary Janes are based on a real model. They both model them after real people, and that's what the woman's real face looks like. They just base it off her actual appearance. And just in certain lighting, it looked different. She doesn't even have a big nose or a broad chin. She just has and again, the thing is, they only show the first Mary Jane from specific angles to prove their point. Yes, her chin is slightly more narrow in that game, undeniably so, but the angles they always choose to highlight that Mary Jane highlight especially how much more narrow it looks like. And again, if you saw this woman on the streets, you would not call her unattractive. This is like, your standards have to be so shallow to call this anything less than an 8 out of 10. Oh, it was the same model. Okay, there you go. Same model. There you go. Yeah, a lot of women look like this. This isn't uncommon. But they're saying, it looks so manly and masculine. That's because you haven't really... I have a hard time believing that any guy who's been around an actual woman would say that. It seems like it's very much he's playing it up to his audience. Because, yeah, does the design look different? Sure. But you have to be really superficial to say these are substantially different in terms of appearance. You can still recognize her as the same character. That's about it.
Interesting. Or how about Aloy from the Horizon games, a series that I actually quite enjoy. You can see in the image on the left how she looked in the original game. Not hyper-feminine by any stretch because she's trying to survive in a primitive post-apocalyptic world where cosmetics aren't exactly easy to come by, but still she's recognisably female with the softer facial structure typically associated with women. The image on the right, on the other hand, is so masculine that if you were to give her some facial hair, you'd basically be left with a man. And a handsome man at that. Same deal with...
Okay, here's one issue too with this image right here. Angles. This is straight on. This is looking away. Let's do something real quick, chat. Take a look at my face as I look at you straight on. Roughly this angle too, right? So you see my face does look different from this angle. But if I looked like this, like that, different appearance. The face appears to change to the eye. So what you have right here is a higher resolution of a face, different angle of the lens, different angle towards the camera, and on top of that, same design, same nose, same eyes, same mouth, different expression here. Mouth open as opposed to mouth closed. These components change how the face looks. Because if you take a still frame that's posed in specific and pre-rendered and angled correctly, yeah, the face will look dramatically different than one in a more candid perspective. And again, even with the new game, Alloy does not look like that throughout the whole game. Alloy, Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, so let's try finding an image that's a similar angle like that. All right, so right here, now, this is a render from the new game. It's a little closer to the angle we see here. So I want you to take a look at this real quick, all right? Similar angle I'm about to show you all. There we go. Same game. This is the new version. Now, side by side, yeah, there are some differences. Face is a little broader, but same time, it looks the same. Same position, same eyebrows, same nose shape, same mouth shape. The only difference is her jaw is slightly broader. Very, very slightly broader. There is almost no difference between this and this. Take a look. Again, this, 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 this. They are differences, but they're minimal. That's it. I want some super chats to play real quick.
Replica_rabbit super chatted $2. Why he not showing them fighting?
I'm not showing them fighting? Oh yeah, exactly.
Blue Baron super chatted $2. Jimmy Neutron Sheen meme about modern gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Olivia Williams super chatted $3.64. Worth mentioning the famous picture The Shape of an Athlete showing various women body types of athletes from a few years ago.
That's a good point too. The different physicalities and different physicalities
Jensai
look different.
Kuroki super chatted $3.64. Not having double D's with jiggle physics and porcelain skin with anime features equals ugly apparently.
Apparently, as I found out.
User 225 super chatted $4.99. To quote old school bodybuilding forums, these guys will never post physique.
Never.
As a gym bro, I'm insulted to share the same gender as these losers.
Never. They talk a lot of crap, but will never back it up.
Akatsuki_arts9 super chatted $6.82. Some anime characters are heavily sexualized to the point that their character is sidelined in the name of drumroll please fan service.
Yeah, that's very true. A lot of fan service characters exclusively, and that's about it.
Terminal Sanity super chatted $5. Talks about why video games suck now and doesn't start with over-monetization and oversaturation of the games as a service model.
Way bigger of a
Is
problem.
Critical a gamer?
Way bigger of a problem than facial models. Absolutely agree.
The Wave Runners super chatted $5. The Alloy screenshot literally has the same origin to those out-of-context SJW pictures use a single frame to show how triggered they are.
Most of these are out of context frames. Almost all of them are just bad lighting.
It's West super chatted $5. It's sad how these guys focus on insignificant things in the gaming industry like a female character's face instead of the real problems.
Anything to avoid talking about actual issues, yeah. Because those are hard to talk about.
Farmega super chatted $5. That handsome man comment sounds like there's some denial going on there, TBH.
They might be. All right, pause the supers again to get back on the video, because I think we'll be here all day. But yeah, no, I agree with all that. Especially the comment about the physicalities. I would search it up, but it might take a little while. Of different Olympic athletes and how their bodies look drastically different from, bit to bit to bit. They all look very different in terms of appearance. So, size, what constitutes extreme physical strength? Well, that depends on, what what the person's genetics are, what they actually do, you know?
So masculine that if you were to give her some facial hair, you'd basically be left with a man. And a handsome man at that.
Very repressed.
Same deal with the main character from Star Wars Outlaws. Prominent chin that would make even Sergeant Slaughter jealous. A wide, strong jawline.
Actually, her jawline isn't even that wide, you know? This angle, a low angle, makes her jawline look wide, but it's actually not that wide at all. And her chin is very right to a point, actually. Not that strong at all, actually. I'm looking at it.
Thin lips and small eyes. Jesus, it's like these characters all rolled off the same bland assembly line. It's even more perplexing when you see what her actress looks like. I could go on and on with this stuff all day, but you get the basic idea. The real question though is, why? Why are Western developers so against the idea of femininity and female beauty in games? I mean, if I was a cynical man, I might suggest that most game studios are infested with jealous, physically repulsive land whales who can't stand to be reminded that they've broken more mirrors than Conan the Barbarian.
And again, here's the big issue with that. He's wrong. He's just being a creep about it. A lot of these developers are women, a lot of them are men. That's simple. You ask for realism, you ask for designs to look a certain way, and you always look at the wrong people. A game programmer you look at, or a writer, or a creative lead, but you won't look at the individual process of development, you won't look at how they're designed. You'll look at different shots and different forms of lighting and not question maybe the issue is the lighting, the rush job with graphics, the crunch time needed to make games on a regular basis. They use the same 5 or 6 examples over the last several years because it's all they can use. And that's the issue. There really aren't a lot of examples of what they're talking about because a lot of AAA games just don't exist, you know? But again, I digress.
But let's go a little bit deeper than that. It's definitely not a technology problem, that's for sure. Games have been capable of rendering accurate facial scans of real actors for decades at this point. I mean, look at Julia Voth from the Resident Evil remake. That game's more than 20 years old now, and the resemblance is uncanny.
The other issue with those games, however, is the expression of the models. Models now are more expressive than ever and thus test the limitations of how you design the face. That's a big factor as well because depending on how the models are expressed, it will impact how they look throughout the game. That's why some shots of Aloy I could find look perfectly normal and other shots don't. Because the angle, expression, and all that don't look quite right at certain points. That's how it is. Or they look very different at certain angles and points. And a lot of these women are beautiful. You would be attracted to these women in real life. Come on.
Or Ellen Page in Beyond Two Souls, which came out in 2013.
A little transphobia there, but at this point, Elliot Page had already transitioned, so dead naming, great.
Or Hayden Panettiere from Until Dawn from 2015. Or Keanu Reeves from Cyberpunk. And as for today, well, all you need to do is take a look at games like Final Fantasy Rebirth or Stellar Blade to see that we're more than capable of rendering beautiful characters on screen. No, the issue here is a creative one.
No, the issue here is that Stellar Blade's facial models are frozen in place for most part and don't have a wide range of expressions. That's the big issue. Also, again, why are none of you discussing Baldur's Gate 3? Baldur's Gate 3 had come out at this point in time. Baldur's Gate 3 was currently the most popular game in America at this time. And yet, strangely enough, a game made by a Western developer that had enough time to cook in the kitchen is not mentioned once in your entire thing? Seems kind of strange here. I don't know what to tell you. Also, Elliot Page was playing a young girl in that game, so I'm not going to question that part.
But why exactly? Well, there seems to be this weird assumption that gamers can or won't take a female character seriously if they find them physically attractive, so the only solution is to reduce or remove any element of attractiveness and sensuality, producing bland, ugly, unappealing models that nobody wants to look at. For me,
when has anyone ever said that? Who the fuck has ever said that? When has that ever come up in conversation?
This is a deeply flawed premise on two levels. One, because characters like Lara Croft, Ada Wong, Jill Valentine, Tifa Lockhart, and Aerith Gainsborough are all conventionally beautiful, but they've all stood the test of time as well.
You've all complained about Lara Croft every time she's appeared in a game as being not as beautiful as last time, even when last time was a bunch of polygons.
Because they were more than just their physical appearance. They were all genuinely interesting characters that people liked and identified with. Their beauty didn't undermine that.
Okay. What did you identify with Ada Wong? How is Ada Wong relatable as a character? What did Ada Wong do that you connected with on an intimate level? I'm curious, genuinely. What about Ada Wong's character impacted you emotionally? Not saying you couldn't. I would say Aerith and Tifa are vastly more interesting, but it looks like you just mentioned 2 or 3 franchises that were popular for many, many years, and you looked at some of the most popular characters of all time. Also keep in mind that you're not mentioning characters like, say, Renona. You're not mentioning characters like Garnet, all from Final Fantasy, but why Tifa and Aerith specifically did you mention? Why not Yuna? Why not Terra or Ceres? Curious. Curiouser and curiouser, one might say. Again, I'm just saying, it just feels to me like you mentioned some well-known characters and nothing else. Again, Baldur's Gate 3 came out at the same time.
Enhanced it. The second reason is, well, down to simple human nature. We as people generally prefer to look at physically attractive individuals. We instinctively seek out beauty, we're drawn to it, and we enjoy being around it. Why do you think so many Hollywood actors or models or pop stars are conventionally good looking? It's the same reason we don't go to art galleries to look at children's finger paintings. We want to experience something higher and better, something aspirational. I know that.
Okay, but let me tell you this real quick. The reason why you think these characters look more attractive is because the faces barely move. That's why. Also, why are you only showing the swimsuit scene from Final Fantasy VII? The characters dress and act differently and look differently in different outfits. Why not show the scene where they go in dresses? To Don Cornelio or Don Cornello's, brothel. They don't show that scene. Why only the swimsuit scene? And just that. All your scenes except for a couple shots of Tifa out of costume, all of it is them in bathing suits. And again, all of them are scenes where the characters don't express themselves too intensely. Big difference there.
That's a tough pill to swallow, but there it is. The truth of the matter is that nobody enjoys looking at ugly people. Yeah, we know that most of us don't look like Chris Hemsworth or Sydney Sweeney, and that's okay. We know we'll never have a body like Chris Redfield or Lara Croft, and that's...
Okay, here's the thing too that's odd. You're showing very old games with a couple of these. Games not known for their graphical capabilities. You showed the same scene from Final Fantasy VII. Again, the swimsuit scene twice. You showed gameplay footage of Lara Croft from a distance. You showed heavily shadowed imagery of Chris Redfield. You showed a little bit of Keanu Reeves in one scene from Cyberpunk. But these shots are heavily shadowed or specific poses meant to look as cool to the audience as possible. But you're showing, well, for the other girls, you showed random cutscenes with just dialogue to, basic candid imagery. You showed heavily shadowed imagery that highlights the more human components of faces and other shots. And you haven't, at any point, shown Baldur's Gate 3, which had come out at this time and was widely popular at this time. So, I'm going to play a few super chats real quick.
The Flaming D super chatted $5. How very trans-affirming of the critical drinker to say Aloy would make a handsome man.
That's fair, right? That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Jensai Kuroki super chatted $3.64. There are IRL beautiful women with prominent jaws and pronounced jawlines. Olivia Wilde, Margot Robbie, and
Yeah.
Keira Knightley, to name a few.
Yeah, and Angelina Jolie for that matter too.
DB, DU5L super chatted $4.99. Anytime these creeps speak ill of modern games, just remember to speak these 3 characters. BG3.
Yeah.
Blue Baron super chatted $2. What the point of his vid? Haven't they nag forever?
Yeah, they nag all the time. Everything is a nag for them.
THYD Wraith super chatted $6.82. I've seen people simp over Savathun from Destiny who looks like a moth bug woman. These hacks don't speak for gamers. LMAO.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
UGXGC super chatted $6.82. Didn't the Actman call out PPL, leaving out Baldur's Gate 3 out of this topic?
Oh yeah,
These PPL would literally call Angelina Jolie a man now.
they would, absolutely would.
Burnt Panini super chatted $19.99. I hate that when GT6 drops, this conversation is gonna start again with female lead like she isn't incredibly attractive, especially given they speculated she was trans before the game even came out.
They're
Like it
ridiculous.
matters if she was.
They're ridiculous with that. They're paranoid about all that. They transvestigate out everyone.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. They don't want to fix, only to complain, or make a buck.
Yeah.
That you, Birdman, Orderly Noah, and others deal with.
Oh
Such
yeah.
as screaming for justice or Rev.
Oh god, they're exhausting.
Zypher 8677 super chatted $2. Uglification of women is because of Reverse Flash.
It was me, Barry. I made all the video game women ugly.
James Kuhn super chatted $19.99. I prefer the more stylistic games. I play games to escape the reality for a little bit. Hades and Hades 2 are good games, and I
Agreed.
hope your day is going well.
Oh, thank you.
Because Drunk doesn't play games just like he watches movies.
Oh yeah. They got so pissed about freaking Hades too. It was ridiculous.
K0METZ super chatted 38 cents. The image you talked about, it's on the Discord.
Oh, it is? Oh, excellent. Let me go grab it then real quick. What's going on here? Oh, thank you. Oh, 1 second. I just got congratulations. I just got a congratulations from I just got congratulations just now on the 100K. That's really cool. Anyway, let me grab the grab it real quick. Right here. Oh, I see now. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, so here's the image we were talking about before with the image, the body types. Here you go. This is what I'm talking about right
X-Men
here.
superfan Emma Frost super chatted 7 cents.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
don't understand why characters attractive is so important for them. I mean, it's okay if pixels turn you on, but at the same time, to be so pressed for it that you have to make a video is so strange.
It really is. But yeah, here's the body types right here. Different body types physically for different types of athletes.
User
It's a
225
big
super
difference.
chatted $4.99. These guys have a lot of nerve talking about masculine features in women when they as men have balloons big enough to feed a family.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough. You're not wrong, but that's rough. Yeah, I got a lot to say here in terms of characters here who are like really, like, again, they're complaining about Lara Croft in the PlayStation. They're praising Lara Croft in PlayStation 1 as being the height of attractiveness when she's a couple of polygons. She's like a static still frame right here. Like, yeah, she looks attractive to you because she's not moving her face. That's what it is ultimately. I'm gonna pause super chats real quick. Let's just keep going.
That's okay too. Why? Because we're not narcissistic idiots who need to see ourselves reflected in everything that we see and do, or how
I'm sorry, you're not narcissists, but you insist all games have to cater to your demands and desires. Make it make sense for me. Because I feel like there's a bit of a contradiction going on here. Seriously.
Have all our hang-ups and insecurities validated by pulling everyone down to our level. Believe it or not, human beings are a lot more mature and resilient than that. The other thing that strikes me is that a lot of the shitty modern tropes from Hollywood are starting to spill over into the video game industry, particularly when it comes to blurring the lines between men and women. Male characters in movies and TV shows today are often depicted as neurotic, insecure, emotionally fragile, cowardly, verbose, and self-deprecating.
I'm going to point out right now that as we've seen a lot of times with Critical Drinker, he says a lot of stuff, but rarely actually backs it up with any meaningful statements. Also, let's be quite fair here. We have, in some ways, gone backwards. We have gone back. Sadly, we have abandoned our beauty standards as we should have embraced them back in the day. We will never, under any circumstances, ever reach the peak beauty that was the PlayStation 1 era of graphics. I mean, listen, you may act like you know what peak is. I'm trying to find one that's not from Reddit real quick. But we will never surpass. I can barely say this with a straight face. We can never surpass the peak that is PlayStation 1 beauty. I know. Listen, I know. Restrain yourselves. But you will never make a character as beautiful as PlayStation 1 Haggard with the melted facial features like freezing into his into his beard. Harry, have you put your name in the goblet of... I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, no, this is obviously will never... Critical Drinker's right. We have to return to the past. We have to return to tradition. And just have every female character look like this. Anyway, yeah, no. So, reminiscing of the past about graphics is ridiculous and stupid. So, let's be perfectly frank.
Generally lacking in agency or the ability...
And look, here's the thing right here. You've seen a lot of footage of Stellar Blade and Final Fantasy VII. None of these faces express in any wild way. They're very stylized. They're almost frozen in some cases. And that's a major component as to why these guys act like this character is so beautiful. They are designed to look a specific way perpetually. That's a fact. So, let's keep going.
To assert themselves in any particular situation. Women, on the other hand, are now written to be stoic, confident, assertive, arrogant, and aggressive, which are the same exact traits that were once considered toxic in men.
Stellar Blade is like that. Okay. Stellar Blade. The main character in Stellar Blade is extremely stoic. She barely reacts. Yeah, Eve. There we go. Forgot her name for a second. Eve is extremely stoic. How can you say that's a bad thing in one breath while praising Stellar Blade in the next? Also, Lara Croft is stoic. Ada Wong is stoic. You want to talk about neuroses, you got to talk about someone like Tifa even, who has a lot of fear and anxiety along with Cloud. So, what are you saying? In one breath, you're saying these female characters are so ugly, but they also are so confident and in control. Meanwhile, the other characters are too. So what is your point? You know? That's the problem. Samus Aran, extremely stoic.
They're basically trying to turn them into men, or at least a warped parody of what they think masculine behaviour is, and I think that mentality is bleeding into gaming now as well. Female characters are being redesigned to look more and more like men, because game studios incorrectly associate masculinity with strength, and femininity with weakness, rather...
Show an example. Show an example of side by side, of a male character model and a female character model. Because I'll tell you this right now, Tifa looks more like Cloud than Aloy looks like any of the men in Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm just telling you right now, even that Star Wars Outlaw clip you just showed, they didn't look a thing alike. Now, I haven't played Star Wars Outlaws, so I can't speak to that game specifically. But the character models look nothing alike. She has a very fine, pointed jaw. He has a very broad jaw, very different looking.
Rather than seeing both as just being different paths to the same destination, they desperately want to create tough, independent, empowered women because let's face it.
Okay, Abby is not a tough, independent woman. She is driven by hatred and revenge to become a walking, living weapon. Her body looks like that due to her own obsession, not because by any means that she's meant to look appealing to the audience. She is there to be a murder machine. She just wants to kill Joel. That's all she wants to do. And she's spent every waking moment of her life getting close to that goal. Her physicality informs her character. She is not meant to be appealing. She is not meant to be relatable. She's not meant to be fun. She is meant to be a horrifying antagonist that you fight, driven by rage. Like, I don't understand why you're showing Abby from a distant shot, mind you, when you're trying to say, oh, she's going to be a tough, independent lady who you want to support. Like, no, she's a villain. She's the villain of the game. Like, she beats things with her bare fists until they die. Like, come on. I mean, she's fun to play too, but like, come on. Yeah, so Abby's whole thing is she embodies the cycle of revenge. That she gets revenge against Joel, and then Ellie gets revenge against her, and it's part of that cycle where there's just a destructive pattern that doesn't really solve anything. It's just pain and human misery. And you would be shocked. And shockingly, none of these people seem to get that basic message, apparently. Yeah, so in Final Fantasy VII, they do have the scene, as in the original game, where Cloud dresses in a dress to get to the Mafia guy. So, again, the game that the Critical Drinker is praising also has... let me get the video here. So, keep in mind, the game that the Critical Drinker keeps praising... is not, okay, a clip of this, 1 second. Keep in mind, this is the game that he keeps praising as being like this great example of masculinity, of traditional gender. This is the game right here.
See their look of surprise.
I'm gonna perform on stage next time.
Where's the... Here we go. This is the same game. Same game. Same game. Picture of masculinity here, clearly. This is the game Critical Drinker is praising. This game right here, where one of the main plot points is Aerith getting very excited to see Cloud dressed in a dress. This is the game Critical Drinker keeps praising as a bastion of traditional masculinity and traditional femininity. This is the game right here. I just want to point that out there. This is what he was praising. I don't think he's actually played Final Fantasy VII is what I'm getting at. It's a major part of the game. It's a big chunk of the early half of the game. Early third of the original game, and maybe like a good massive percentage of the original, of the new remake. So, but again, I think he just saw Aerith and Tifa in bathing suits and assumed that was the only character getting dressed up in strange costumes in that game. No, that's not the case. But again, Drinker's like, oh no, modern games outside of Japan in the East, they keep breaking traditional masculine patterns and, making, men all weak, not like Japanese games. Okay, buddy. Tell me you haven't played Final Fantasy VII without telling me you haven't played Final Fantasy VII.
That's pretty much the only kind of characters they're allowed to write now, and because they lack the skill and imagination to construct interesting characters with actual feminine characteristics, their only solution is to churn out women who look, talk, and act like the toxic men they despise so much. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. Their own flawed worldview created a problem that they can only solve by replicating the same exact problem that they created in the first place.
And I'm sure you can come up with many examples with specific citations as to why Harley Quinn is masculine. Harley Quinn. Please explain to me how you think that Harley Quinn is quote-unquote masculine. Because I saw that Harley Quinn clip from Suicide Squad Kills Justice League, a game that is, quite frankly, bad and not good. Just saying. I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
Fucking genius. And the thing is, who is any of this supposed to appeal to? Men certainly don't like it, because seeing their favourite characters turned into the Giga Chad meme to score social media points and court an audience that doesn't exist is irritating and depressing.
I'm sorry. Favorite characters turned into that. Abby was original to the game, and you cited her the most. Abby being turned into this? Like, the only character who pre-existed, who you complained about, was Mary Jane. That's the only character you cited. And I have a hard time imagining her being a quote-unquote Giga Chad by having a slightly longer nose and slightly broader jawline. You showed briefly Harley Quinn, but didn't explain anything as to why she was there. The problem is with Drinker, and it's part of his skill set. It's why he's successful. He talks quickly, presents clips at you really fast, and doesn't leave you enough time to critically assess what he actually just said. Because quite frankly, he's not really saying anything. He's just putting up image on screen saying, oh yeah, take my word for it, this is an example of what I'm referring to. It's an example of the uglification of women in games. And it's like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, but then it's gone quickly. You're like, oh, actually, maybe that wasn't so great. Or they show you the most unflattering angle, usually a low angle with heavy shadow, and they're like, oh wow, that looked ugly. Meanwhile, no, it didn't look ugly. It looked like a low angle with lots of shadow on it. But if you tilt the camera up and look down, those problems you saw don't exist. And if you change the lighting a little bit, the problems disappear entirely. Seems kind of strange to me, don't you think? I'm gonna let some super chats play real quick, so I'm piling up.
Sarvis the Drow super chatted $5. When I was in high school, I thought something had to be wrong with modern women. I was just never attracted to them. Turns out, I'm just into guys.
That would do it. That would do it.
Loti the Bunny super chatted $4.99. It's insane as someone into character designs. The bias is only for humanoid ladies, the double standards.
Mm-hmm. We need more
Wing of Shoe
characters.
super chatted $5. Odds are the Mortal Kombat female ninjas are Pefferek to Drinker. Wouldn't be surprised if true.
There were a lot of people who got angry at the women in Mortal Kombat somehow. I don't know how.
Olivia
They're
Williams
gorgeous.
super chatted $1.45. He also obviously never played any Yakuza games.
No, never.
Gavin Carruth super chatted $5. I genuinely hate the stylism vs realism debate. Can we just have both, and a spectrum of such, without having to turn it into some argument bile?
100%. I would prefer that. Stylistic characters look fantastic. I'm going to pause supers real quick. Yeah, no, the characters look stylistic and cool. They're fantastic. I love stylistic characters. Oh, hang on. There's a few different super chats that came in. I'm going to unpause them.
Burnt Panini super chatted $4.99.
Oh, thank you.
Any real gamer knows the current pinnacle of attractiveness is Hornet from Silksong, but sure Western games have fallen. Sure man.
We're not ready for that conversation yet. We're not ready for that one yet.
Angry Clippy super chatted $5. What is your favorite video game woman character?
Morgan Ainsland, easily. Or Chun-Li.
James Kuhn super chatted $9.99. I don't know if you've seen Drinker's
Tifa.
movie and his responses video his movie. It was bad and had every problem he makes against.
I have seen it. I was considering making a video about it, but haven't decided yet if I want to. I may want to do
Unga _ Bunga 9615
Nice
super chatted $6.82.
Wow.
I agree with Critical. Game characters are to be the epitome of beauty, so every man in games will now look like 90s Captain America. Gender inequality no more. Yen because just from Japan recently.
Oh, that was been a fun trip, honestly. I want to go to Japan sometime soon. Yeah, no, we should have, actually, what's funny is, I remember someone telling me that, like, with women, they don't want to see, like, the big beefy characters. They like more characters like Cloud, like the more
KJ
Bishonen
Zana
type.
super chatted $5. With the passing of legendary actor and filmmaker, Robert Redford, I feel obligated to look back on the film and television that he was well known for.
Yeah, that's a good point. Robert Redford, I'm going to pause Supers real quick to talk about Robert Redford real quick. Robert Redford was one of the all-time greats in acting. The Sundance Film Festival exists purely because of Robert Redford's efforts in the industry. He founded it. Redford, there's so many iconic films that he was in. Right now in chat, if you've seen Robert Redford's movies, I want you to tell me what your favorite Robert Redford film was and why it's All the President's Men. In fact, here's a little, LA Times has a little thing right here with all his most popular movies. All's Lost, All the President's Men, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, The Natural, Ordinary People, Quiz Show, Sneakers, The Sting, Few Days of the Condor, The Way We Were, and of course, there's the iconic meme that Robert Redford... What was that movie called with the meme? It's, it's... What was it called? It's, Jeremiah Johnson. Jeremiah Johnson. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It's a great freaking movie. Yeah, masterpieces. Out of Africa, that's a great one. Yeah, there's a lot of great Robert Redford films. Of course, he was excellent, in my opinion, because I'm biased, in that one Twilight Zone episode where he plays Death. Spoiler alert, he plays Death. It's a great episode. It's really heartbreaking.
The Wave Runners super chatted $2. Every man shall now become Leon Kennedy.
Oh, every single one. All at once. Leon's great. He's a great character.
Stabster super chatted $1.45. Morrigan I see. I bet you drink water, don't you?
I drink water? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very thirsty. Yeah.
Pyramid Head super chatted $5. At least he hasn't complained about Angela from the Silent Hill 2 remake yet.
God, that was
That
so
controversy
weird.
was one of the most creepy and wrong things ever.
Getting angry at the appearance of a survivor of assault is so weird. Who's a kid, if I remember
Fred Skull
correctly.
super chatted
So weird.
$1.99. Remember when Redford was a villain in Cap 2?
Yeah. One of his last role, I think his last role was Avengers Endgame. I think he retired before that and came back for the cameo in that. He was good in that. I think he was a really good Marvel villain, but people don't really talk about that too much. I mean, Winter Soldier they talk about because it's a great movie, but he was great in Winter Soldier, I thought. Oh man, the gun, yeah. Yeah, Butch Cassidy's a great one. But All the President's Men, the one I go to the most. I think it's a really good film. And I think it's like very compelling and intense, I think. Anyway, we're going to pause Supers real quick. We're going to get back. We're going to finish up the Drinkers video and then move on to Synthetic Man.
Women don't seem to care much for it either, because I'm willing to bet that not many of them aspire to look like this, or this, or this. Female gamers aren't going to feel sad.
Yeah, but that image is is an alteration. It's not even the original game footage. Do you realize that's fake? You don't realize that's fake, do you? That's not a real image of whatever.
And excluded just because they've seen Ada Wong killing monsters while executing a perfect backflip in a ball gown. Instead, they're going to see a cool, awesome, beautiful woman kicking ass and doing awesome things. And
tell me okay. Drinker, tell me something about Ada Wong you like without describing her appearance. I'm not saying she's a bad character. I like Ada Wong quite a lot, but like, tell me about her without describing what she looks like. tell me about something about her character, about how she is in the story, her how she functions, the enigmatic relationship she has with Leon and everyone else, how she seems to slink around the corners, almost like a Catwoman-esque character who's morally ambiguous. You're not sure what side she's on. Tell me about her lore, or her story for that matter, what she does. Because so far, you keep describing Ada Wong without indicating you've even played Resident Evil at all. I bet you think she first appeared in Resident Evil 4. Or maybe Resident Evil 2, depending on the remake if you've played that one. Oh, she appeared in Resident Evil 2 the first time, but you know what I'm getting at. The problem is, Ada Wong's not that great a character in terms of Resident Evil lore. She's not. Claire Redfield's a more interesting character. Jill Valentine's interesting. But Ada Wong is not that interesting as a character. She just isn't. Like, she's cool for what she represents. She creates tension. She's enigmatic. But like a lot of mysterious characters, she herself as a character is the aesthetic. She's not really a character. Yet you keep citing Ada Wong and haven't once mentioned the queens of gaming. For example, Chun-Li, or Samus Aran, or Princess Zelda. You've mentioned Resident Evil 4 characters. Sorry, Resident Evil characters. I mean, you mentioned, I think, Jill Valentine, I think. You mentioned Lara Croft, but only showed her in the PS1 era, which is 3 games out of like 8 and 10 or 15. And you mentioned Tifa and Aerith, but only referenced them in one scene from Final Fantasy VII's remake. At no point did you mention characters beyond that. And there are many characters in gaming who are gorgeous. Undeniably so. But you didn't mention Baldur's Gate 3. You didn't mention any of the gym leaders from Pokemon, for example. You didn't mention Princess Peach, which a lot of kids can cite as probably one of their first video game crushes. You didn't mention Zelda, who's not other kids can mention as their first crushes. You didn't mention... Who else? Who's another one I can think of? There's a lot of characters. No Mortal Kombat characters for that matter. No Street Fighter characters. No Tekken characters. No not even Dead or Alive. Didn't even mention Dead or Alive. Bayonetta. Big one, Bayonetta. Yeah, big one is Bayonetta. Or Lady. Or, was it Beatrice? Was the other love interest, other character from Devil May Cry? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of characters you left out. Lae'zel's interesting from Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know how I feel about Lae'zel, and I played the game a couple times already. I always went for Shadowheart and Karlach in terms of romances. But Lae'zel's interesting. Oh, the boss. Oh, yeah, the big boss. Oh, not the big boss. The boss. Big boss is Naked Snake. But yeah, the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. Yeah, another example. The witch from Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, I can imagine him not mentioning the witch from Banjo-Kazooie. Not gonna lie. Soul Calibur. Yeah. Sophitia, right? Taki. Yeah, there's a lot of characters. Yeah. Astarion. Yeah, no. What about Astarion? Anyway, Trish. Yeah, Trish. There we go.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point of playing video games, in fact. They're not supposed to reflect the real world with all its tedious, mundane problems and restrictions. They're supposed to represent something higher, something better, something more fun. They're supposed to represent what we aspire to be, not what we're stuck with in our day-to-day lives.
Just play Singing Kagura. There's tons of games that exist to satisfy what you want. There are tons of games that have exactly what you're looking for, They're in multitudes. Just play those. Are you complaining that the Stardew Valley models aren't attractive enough for you next? Come on, give me a break here.
And the more you try to...
Even though you're wrong, those characters are, gorgeous, but I digress.
Fuck with that, the more you lose sight of the very purpose of your industry. And well, the more your customers are going to abandon you in favour of something better. Why do you think the Stellar Blade demo made such an impact? It's because the developers were smart enough to give their customers exactly what they want. A kick-ass beautiful woman in a skin-tight bodysuit. And in turn, gamers saw it as a giant fuck you to all the prissy, sanctimonious, fun-killing developers that are slowly strangling Western gaming. And if
Okay, was this before Stellar Blade came out? Oh yeah, this is a couple weeks before it came out. No, I think right slightly after. When did I make my Stellar Blade video? Because I made the Stellar Blade video around. Because I made a video about Stellar Blade actually, which is funny. It was one of my earlier videos too. That came out over a year ago, of course, but 1 second. This came out. Okay, so this came out the week after. Yeah, so this came out a week after that. Stellar Blade. I gotta tell you this. People don't talk about Stellar Blade anymore for a reason. It kind of pissed everyone off. Because they slightly adjusted the costume design, just ever so slightly. People are still talking about Spider-Man 2. No one is talking about Stellar Blade, and there's a reason for that. Despite the aesthetics of the game sucked. Just enough. It wasn't good enough to hold the attention. And again, the problem is the game was very obvious. People got angry that they described the model as doll-like. I remember that. They were very upset because it was based on a model, but there was some IGN France review that said, oh, the model looks doll-like and this, that, and the other thing. But like, it kind of was. The problem wasn't that the model looked doll-like. The problem is it didn't have any expression. Eve didn't change her facial expression. She didn't adjust. She didn't seem to react to anything. She was deliberately written as a cipher, an emotionless kind of character. More like Rei Ayanami than, an appealing three-dimensional character. I like Rei Ayanami just fine, but as a supporting character, not as the main character. There was nothing there. And that's the big issue, isn't it? There wasn't enough there to appeal to audiences. And that's a problem. Because if your game's going to have longevity and have sequels and have this, that, and the other thing, you got to grab hold of the game with more than just, oh, it's just a pretty face, Didn't work out.
If there's one thing that gamers love doing most of all, it's saying fuck you to people who try to control and lecture them. And for now at least, Eastern developers still seem to understand that fact. That's the great thing about the free market, you see. The customers can always go elsewhere, and if you don't change course pretty soon, you might just find that out to your costs. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
And as we will go away now. Here's the problem with what he we're still sticking around. We're not. This stream's not over yet. I'm just clicking out of that video. Here's the problem with what he just said. He did not once mention Baldur's Gate 3, which was at that time one of the most top-selling games of that year, and was a Western game with highly appealing character designs. Like, again, you showed the same clip of Aerith 3 times. Give me a break here. Anyway, let's go to a user whose account, I believe... Let's let some Super Chats play real quick. There we go.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. Remember when people got mad she tricks Leon in 4?
Oh yeah, people got really angry about that.
Angry Clippy super chatted $2. I would love to hear his BS views on Skullgirls.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Bekwa say I'm bored super chatted $2. Shout out to Mothman, he is literally my son.
Yeah, seriously.
Gavin Caruth super chatted $2. Toho is 99% women, but I bet he can't name one.
That's fair. Oh.
The Wave Runners super chatted $2. Have to correct your Gruntilda comments. Check DMS.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay, we got some Gruntilda support here from Wave. Here's some Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie. Also, you sent me a couple of the screenshots. I won't bring up one of them because it looks like a very frightening image. But you also sent me the girl from Crystal from Star Fox. Another characters who a lot of people have awakenings about, but I'm not going to put on screen.
Loti the Bunny super chatted $4.99.
Wow.
I bet Critical Drinker cannot handle the masculinity and femininity of the characters from Persona series.
Can you imagine him playing Persona? I imagine what he'd say about the giant, the giant dick monster from that. Yeah, that'd be something wild. Okay, looking at Synthetic Man, I almost feel like this is going to give me a virus. Just looking at his page. Synthetic Man is average women in gaming 2024. Okay, I don't see a version. I don't want to click on the Silent Hill 2 remake video. That looks like it's going to piss me off too much. So, you didn't like Donkey Kong Bonanza? You love that game. Okay. All right, let's take a look at he likes Stellar Blade though, I guess. All right, that's cool. All right. So for those who don't know, Synthetic Man is very black-pilled. I'll put it that way. He's a very black-pilled creator. If you don't know who he is, Dead Domain did a fantastic video breaking down everything about Synthetic Man and what he's about. He's just a very sad man. He's a very sad, kind of depressing person to think about. And he's abhorrent in all of his views.
James Kuhn super chatted $9.99. These is why Mass Effect Trilogy is a great series. Not only good character designs, but the story is so wonderful that I am playing it again for the 4th time.
Oh, yeah.
And Taylai for the win.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Mass Effect's fantastic. Every single one of my friends want to end up with Garrus, which I think is telling for the kind of people I associate with, but I digress. But yeah, no, so we have reached, I'm going to pause Supers real quick so I can talk about Synthetic Man for a second. We've reached kind of the pinnacle of now depressing, bleak sadness. Because here's the thing with Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker is normie. He is popular because he's a bit more normie. He is not too extreme in his views, and he knows when to grift and when to shut up. The Drinker has mastered the grift craft by going, okay, let's avoid going too far into the grift. Let's give surface level details and say generic and general things without going specific, because he knows he'll get called out by gamers if he screws up. Synthetic Man, though, doesn't care. He just says whatever he wants because he's not grifting. He genuinely believes what he says. That's the thing, too. People act like grifters are the only type of bad critics online. That's not true. Synthetic Man thinks what he's saying is real. And that's concerning. Because what he says is abhorrent. He hasn't just bought the grift. Because the grift stops at a point. He's gone farther. He's gone way beyond buying the grift. Jeremy Johns, I think, has bought the grift. If the grift is like a whirlpool that draws people in, he's gone past the singularity. In fact, he may be the singularity of a black hole. Again, you'll get it as we go. I'm going to play the super chat real quick. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is a good comparison, actually, except worse.
Scorpion Wolf super chatted $5. My awakening in liking girls' looks was probably episode 2 Padme in the prequels.
Yeah, fair point.
My awakening in liking a girl's personality was Huntress from the DCAU.
Valid. That's fair. I hear you there. I'm pausing supers again to get through this because this is going to be a long video, and I Don't intend on watching all of it because there's only so much synthetic man I can tolerate before I lose my mind. And quite frankly, it's unhealthy to consume too much synthetic man in one sitting. It's like alcohol poisoning. You don't want to do that to yourself.
Man's incredibly cynical breakdown of the Summer Games Fest. And much like last year, it is somehow even worse than the lowest lows of the last few E3s. It is truly impressive how bleak the future of gaming looks. I know many of you want to see the return of the woke counter, but first of all, there are way too many woke moments to count here. Almost every single game shown had some form of left-wing propaganda. I know that sounds ridiculous, like I'm going off the fucking deep end. Synthetic grifter is just telling his audience what they want to hear, right? I'm seeing woke in everything, as the tourists like to say. But my god, dude, it doesn't get much worse than this. I watched 6 hours of these showcases, and maybe 15 minutes of that contained games I'd be actually interested in playing. I have never seen so many diverse female protagonists in my entire life. Like I said in a previous video, this is a showcase of future flops. These games don't even have to make money because they're funded by BlackRock in the Canadian government. If you think indie games are exempt from this, you are delusional.
See what I mean when I say he's out of his mind? So it's not just that he thinks that they're woke. It's that he believes in some crazy BlackRock conspiracy and it's going to refund all the games. Because BlackRock, of course, doesn't exist to make a profit. What do you think BlackRock is? A business that wants to make money? Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. No, like BlackRock, the investment firm. You know, the firm that wants to make money off of the profits of other people's works. Yeah, BlackRock okay, so BlackRock is an organization. It's a major organization, a business. They are basically an investment firm. They invest in a lot of different industries, a lot of different projects. And BlackRock's main objective is they want to make money. So if a game developer is funded by BlackRock, BlackRock wants their a return on their investment. If they don't get a return on their investment, you know what they do? They divest from an organization. They take the money back. So these conspiracy theorists who think, oh, well, BlackRock is funding it, so it's like a conspiracy. No, BlackRock, when they don't make money, they pull their money out. That's one of the reasons why they're so powerful. If they don't like something, they'll withdraw their funds, and that can cause a lot of damage to an organization. So yeah, he's out of his mind. And yeah, when he said a lot of these guys are using BlackRock as a... BlackRock also was the one who pushed for the initial DEI initiatives, which a lot of these conservative groups treat as a theoretical boogeyman, even though the people who benefited most from DEI, even though the people who benefited most from DEI were actually white women, statistically, they act like it's a, you know, whatever they think it is. Anyway, let me play these couple super chats real quick.
Stingertopia super chatted $10. He's got a 3-part on The Walking Dead show, 45 minutes vid on God of War, and nonstop complaining of each awards show using characters not even shown in that awards show or even the last one.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out what even to talk about with this guy because he has so many random videos.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Real gooners welcome the variety. This is amateur.
Yeah, right? You can tell that right there is kind of the proof in the pudding, isn't it? He doesn't seem to really value variety at all in any capacity, but I digress. Pausing him real quick, let's keep going with this.
Obviously, the AAA games are no better. There are man jaws galore. I feel bad for anybody who's been begging for a Perfect Dark remake or reboot. Holy shit, talk about a monkey's paw wish. But for this video, I'm gonna change up my coverage a little bit.
All have man jaws, big broad jaws, neck shot, narrow jaw, very narrow face. Jesus Christ, there's no pleasing this guy.
Like I just said, there's not gonna be any woke counter, there's no point. And honestly, there's way too much material here for me to condense down into like a 30-minute video. So instead of covering everything that happened during the show, I'm instead going to review each showcase individually and cover the highlights.
I want to point out right here that Dead Domain in her video kind of pointed out that this guy doesn't even seem to like games all that much. He only plays a specific couple of games that he's good at, and struggles outside of that. Yeah, no. The problem is this man is deeply, deeply, deeply terminally online. This is a guy who barely plays games outside of the few that he loves. Doesn't push himself to learn about how to play new games. And that's fine if he admitted it, but he doesn't. And he complains about everything else that he doesn't want to play anyway. So, if you didn't want to play it, who cares what you have to say, right? Like, if you're not playing the games that you're getting passionate about, like, if you, for example, if you were really passionate about, I guess, like, let's say Perfect Dark, right? If that was the thing you were really passionate about, which, by the way, you got screwed off more than anyone else if you're a Perfect Dark fan, the game looks bad, right? You got something to complain about then. I think back to the Dragon Age fans, Veilguard, for example. Veilguard really screwed over a lot of fans. A lot of fans were waiting for Dragon Age Veilguard for a while, but EA didn't EA and screwed the production over. And so because of the rush timeline and rewritten scripts and all that, they produced a product that was inferior. It was not good enough to meet demand. But then you look at these guys and they kind of go, okay, well, he's just complaining to complain. And his complaints aren't even consistent. He says, they have all such big jaws. Next shot he shows is a very narrow jaw on the woman. So, making fun of indie devs and all that. A lot of these grifters don't really touch indie all that much. Mainly because there's no market for it. Like, how are you going to grift about an indie game that only a few people are playing, right? Like, a grifter isn't going to target, like, a cozy farm game unless there's like an IP attached to it, like say the Shire Lord of the Rings game, which I want to cover too because I want to talk about how Lord of the Rings being gamified so much, but I digress. But here he's just complaining about everything. Everything is open game for him, which is why I don't think he's a grifter. A grifter knows what to complain about. This is more like Lily Orchard or someone like of that ilk, where they complain about whatever personally bothers them, because they genuinely feel aggrieved by it. Like, they authentically feel deeply upset by it. And that's the problem. He actually believes what he's saying. He's not playing. He's authentic. And there's something kind of disturbing about that, I think. Because he actually is fully bought into it. But I digress, let's keep watching.
Highlights being mostly negative, of course. Since I never made a video on the Sony State of Play, I'll briefly give my thoughts on it at the end if you're curious. But without further ado, here is the worst gaming showcase of all time, the Summer Games Fest 2024. Starting off, we had the biggest show, the main Summer Games Fest showcase, which was 2 hours long, yet just showed absolute slop for the vast majority of that runtime. Shockingly, there weren't like breaks for musical numbers or celebrities like the Game Awards. It was truly mostly game trailers, and yet somehow nothing looked interesting outside of a handful of games. Now, of course, that handful of games were games that I wanted to play, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which will...
Guess what? He hated that game when it came out, I'm pretty sure.
No doubt be the Chud game of the year.
Oh, yes. Oh, the Chuds sure loved Kingdom Deliverance. Oh, it's hilarious how that's aged. Yeah, it was extremely gay because it was historically accurate. That's the thing. The game deeply prioritized extreme historical accuracy, and the Chuds hated it. They were so excited because when they heard historically accurate, they thought it meant their version of history. But it didn't, because they are delusional, don't actually know what history actually is. And the game was historically accurate, but not their version of history. So that's aged wonderfully well.
Our Lord Jesus Christ.
If we want to fight against all of the propaganda forced into our media, I can't think of a better game to support. So even if the gameplay of the first wasn't exactly my thing, I certainly will be buying and reviewing this, and I have no doubt that it will be a quality game at the very least. Other highlights of the show were more Monster Hunter Wilds gameplay, which I personally am somewhat excited for. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I will definitely be buying and reviewing. There's
You know what? I was excited for this game when it came out, but my excitement waned very quickly when I started playing it. I do enjoy Sparkling Zero, but it didn't age very well.
There's no way to know if the gameplay will actually be good, because every time they've shown us uncut gameplay, there were certain little things that looked questionable, but they also showed off that it looks like the new story mode is going to have some kind of what-if system where you can make choices throughout the story to play unique scenarios. There's no telling if that will branch off into its own storyline or if it'll just be one-off missions. But still, that's a pretty good idea. I've always liked what-ifs in the Dragon Ball games.
It's the same gameplay as Tenkaichi 3, basically. It's not that complicated. Yeah, it died within 2 months for a reason. It just wasn't, there wasn't enough there to, like, hold attention. Meanwhile, Fighter Z was, like, a while. It was fantastic.
I have been personally asking for a new Tenkaichi game for 15 years, so I am happy to see that it's finally getting a sequel, and my expectations are incredibly low, so I can't imagine I'll really be disappointed. There are a few more interesting games as well. There was more footage for Metaphor ReFantasio, which is by the creators of Persona. I'll no doubt give it a try. There's Phantom Blade Zero, which is a fast-paced action game that might be a Sekiro-like, or maybe just a hack-and-slash game with some Souls-light mechanics. Hard to tell at this point, but the gameplay did look pretty fun. There was a little bit of gameplay shown for the re-release of Sonic Generations with new Shadow the Hedgehog levels, which I will definitely be purchasing. And no, I don't care that this is effectively a remaster with a DLC stapled to it.
Oh, what a good DLC that was.
Sonic Generations is still way more fun than the vast majority of games that come out each year, so I'm sure the Shadow the Hedgehog levels will make it worth a buy for me personally.
Look, I can't deny that's a good point. I enjoy Sonic Generations is a great game. I'm just saying, Sonic Generations really good. On occasion, he is right. That's one of them. That's one of the occasions, basically.
There's also the mech game that kind of looks like an Armored Core clone called Mecha Break. That looks fairly interesting. And finally, the game I'm sure all of you wanted me to mention, the Killer Bean game. Yes, you know, the ancient internet meme, the Killer Bean animation. Yes, this looks like pure slop, like a streamer bait game, but I'll be honest, I actually want to play this at least. At bare minimum, I expect to be able to laugh at it, which is still being entertained on some level, something modern gaming doesn't understand. Games are supposed to be fun. This looks fun, even if maybe for the wrong reasons. So,
look, I'll be honest, I don't think you would know what fun is if it bit you on the face. That looks generic as anything. That looks like total slop. Yeah, no. It's only a matter of time before he says something incredibly racist. That's true. Let me just play some super chats real quick.
SM Jida super chatted $4.99. He's called Synthetic Man because his taste in diversity and aesthetics is the exact same as what you generate out of an AI image generator.
That's fair. That's very fair. All right, gonna just where are we right here? Pause super chat supers again. So this is the one. Let's keep going.
So yes, I am kind of looking forward to the Killer Bean game's release. And that's it for all the good stuff in the show. The rest of the trailers shown ranged from mediocre slop to
let's get to
actual leftist propaganda
Here we
being
go.
shoved down our throats for the millionth fucking time. Like I said, it wouldn't even be worth it to have a woke counter. All you have to do is count the amount of brown female protagonists on screen. And trust me, it only gets worse from here.
It only gets worse from here. Oh, I didn't expect such racism. What am I talking about? Of course I did. It's Synthetic Man. Of course I expected racism from the beginning, from the moment I clicked go.
Other shows actually have even more diverse female protagonists than this. This fucking Stanley Parable guy is making a game where you play as a brown female barista who wants to be a great warrior, but she's stuck serving tea to people. I mean, what the fuck? No, I don't care if the game has this morbid twist where you then go murder all the people because she finally snaps. So who cares? That would still be woke in its own way. Oh man, tiny woman goes psycho and murders a bunch of people. And if it's not that, then it's just boring ass Animal Crossing-esque chore simulator. I don't care, man. And then there's the...
Okay, so a cozy game made for cozy gamers doesn't interest you. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like it. There's a lot of cozy games out there that are like, not your cup of tea. But your problem is the main character is a woman who has dark skin. You see, that's why, despite him being such an obvious bigot, Synthetic Man's refreshing. Because he just says what all the other grifters are hinting at. He's the target demographic for those grifters. He just tells you exactly what's on his mind. That's why he's not grifting. He's just telling you what he thinks. And what he thinks is abhorrent. But he doesn't hide that it's abhorrent. He just tells you it right out. And the game looks pretty good. I want to play that game now. I'm curious what it is. I actually don't remember what the game was. Synthetic Man is a gigantic bigot. Yeah, that's reality. But he tells you exactly what the grifters are teasing at. Whenever any grifter tries to use plausible deniability and be like, oh no, I'm not saying anything racist. I never say anything racist. Synthetic Man proves that he's hearing the dog whistles they're throwing out. Yeah, he is racist. He's the target audience of those grifters. And he would admit he's a racist. I'm not just saying that. He would say it himself. Oh, he would probably have Custer's Revenge. Yeah, he would love Custer's Revenge. The Atari 2600 game that's infamously could only be bought if you asked for it behind the counter, you know? Anyway.
Climbing survival game, once again with a diverse female character. There was an indie game where you play as some Scottish dude leading an army, and they slipped in a black Scottish woman and thought we wouldn't notice. And there was an Abby...
Oh no, one black character exists in the game. That ruined it for Synthetic Man, apparently. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no. He's basically the gaming equivalent of Ranting with Vengeance. That's a very good point. Yeah, no, he just hates... And just, it's not like he... Again, with Critical Drinker, he complained about... You know, the jawline, the lips, and the nose. There's a technical reason why I think they're being uglified. No, Synthetic Man just tells you outright. No, he just hates them because they're brown. He just hates them because they have dark skin. That's why he hates them. That's why he can't stand them. He is so overt with his bigotries. It's not even funny.
Zilla type character as well. Look forward to seeing more muscular women in the other showcases. There was even a higher budget adventure game where you play as an Indian woman. Of course, they only showed like 3 seconds of gameplay, so I couldn't even really tell you what type of game it is. Oh, and we can't forget the blatant shilling of Alan Wake 2 once again. It's obvious Remedy is about to go bankrupt, so now a year later they're releasing physical copies of the game, and of course DLC to try and bring back the fans by having the chick from Control and the dude from Quantum Break.
Bring back the fans. Alan Wake 2 was a massive success, if I recall correctly. Like, that was like kind of a big deal. Yeah, I know. He wishes he was used. Yeah, he's not a particularly big channel. Yeah, Alan Wake 2 was apparently really good. I never played Alan Wake 2, I should say it right now, but I've heard it's really fantastic. I wanted to play it, but just never got around to it. I think that was around the time I was starting my channel up too when it came out. So anyway, so yeah, it's let me play some super chats real quick. In case you can't tell, I don't really agree with this man.
The guy 493 super chatted $5. Wait, isn't this the same dude that is obsessed with, shall we say, endowed Gerudo women and threw a fit about it?
Yes, that you'd be correct. He is. Because they all fetishize
User
something in the video games.
225 super chatted $1.99. Would these guys love or hate Frank Frazetta?
They would hate Frank Frazetta because Frank Frazetta also drew muscular women. Frankly. I love Frank Frazetta's art. It's fantastic. Beautiful stuff. Comic Tropes is a really good video. I almost said Comic Drake by accident. Comic Tropes is a really good Frank Frazetta video.
Do not fall for this desperation. Let Remedy die. They get what they fucking deserve. And even discounting all of the woke stuff, there were just so many games that nobody asked for or cares about on any level. Like the Lego Horizon Zero Dawn game. I mean, really? Sony is just not gonna give up trying to make Aloy a thing. It's never gonna happen. She looks like fucking Nikocado Avocado. The only thing...
Hang on a second. Let me show you a clip you just showed real quick here.
Horizon Zero Dawn game. I mean, really? Sony is just not gonna give up trying to make Aloy.
Right there. Aloy looks totally fine in the shot you provided. Like, it's just proof that whatever... She looks totally normal in this shot. Again, it's just lighting.
A thing. It's
Look, normal shot. Totally normal shot.
never gonna happen.
See? Totally normal shot.
She looks like fucking Nikocado Avocado.
And here's that shot that they photoshopped, by the way, before. That Critical Drinker kept showing that looks photoshopped. Here's what it actually looks like. That's proof that... And again, here's a reason why Synthetic Man is so interesting. Because he lets it slip. He shows you the real thing and points and goes, isn't this horrifying? Whereas Critical Drinker showed you multiple photoshopped images of Aloy and acted like that was what it actually was in game. See, the face is shaped substantially differently in this shot than even on the Drinker's video. Synthetic Man gives the game away. Listen, the more extreme members of your movement will always give the game away. That's the problem with them. That's why they're unreliable. In a grifting movement, those who are being grifted will not be... Aloy. I always mispronounce names.
The only thing that's interesting about Horizon are the robot dinosaurs. The humans are disgusting. Oh, and as a punch in the balls, there's a teaser for a new Batman Arkham game. And guess what? It's a VR game. And they purposely don't show any gameplay. As the biggest cringe moment of the show, we had the creators of Among Us come out on stage and tell us they've started a fund for indie games. I'm sure they will only support the greatest that indie games have to offer. Games made purely for fun and definitely don't have any modern politics in them. Holy
oh no, just like Among Us, the most modern game of all time. Don't you know all the politics in Among Us is so... The Among Us politics gets so in the way of the gameplay and story of Among Us.
I'm Pekka, creative director of Outer Loop Games, makers of Thirsty Suitors and Falcon Age.
What?
In our new
Thirsty
game,
Suitors?
In an upgradable mech and cook up tasty dishes for local communities. Fight off corpos, discover new dosa recipes.
Oh my god.
And reunite with your
Fight off lagged corpos. You're being funded by a soon-to-be corpo that made all its money off of a fucking meme game. Maybe when there's an Among Us movie, and a TV show, and
amazing indie games aren't the
I don't
only
know.
thing coming
How much
out of
money do they have to
slot.
make before they're a
Did you know that
corpo?
there's going to be an Among Us TV show?
Well, I was
Sounds
joking!
like you did.
I was joking!
Among Us
Oh.
He's so dumb, but he gives the game away. So right there, with Critical Drinker, he tried to legitimize his critique, saying, "Oh, it's the modern, it's modern gaming and all this." Synthetic Man just tell you, no, he's just a bigot. So let's go. I think we've seen enough of Synthetic Man, this sad man. I can only stand so much of him before I go crazy. Let's take a look at a very different creator real quick. Altiori. Because if you noticed, so far we've critiqued mainly men talking about women. But let's talk about women criticizing women. Now, Altiori is not necessarily a gaming critic. She's more of a general media critic. However, there are some examples of what we're looking for here. But I gotta find the right image. Let's play some super chats while I'm searching real quick.
Unga_Bunga 9615 super chatted $3.41. What would it take to make bro put the talking stick down and touch grass?
A lot.
Dude needs a better lifestyle than bitching about brown people in games.
Yeah, seriously.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. He apparently lost power an hour ago. Saw while trying to look at some of his older thumbnails. Also, the comments are only Indian hate and anti-Semitic.
Yeah, no, he's purely just. His only thing is bigotry. Let's be quite honest. Okay, let's. This looks like what we're looking for right here. Outrage about gooning. That's a good way to end. That's a good last one. I'm gonna keep this stream somewhat short, only because it's been a long week. So we'll watch Altiori, then we'll wrap it up for today, I think. All right. And last week's was extremely long in terms of videos, so we'll wrap it up after this.
Gooning this, gooning that, gooning here, gooning there. You see a pretty guy that you like? Gooner. See a pretty girl that you like? Gooner. It's like the modern version of if you don't know something, you're a boomer, but if you're doing something completely natural, like finding something attractive, you're a gooner, and somehow that's supposed to make people feel insulted or something. Like.
Okay, first and foremost, half of those were AI images. So if you're gooning over AI, maybe you should be called a gooner, I'm not going to lie. But secondly, a lot of gooners call themselves gooners. Gooners is not a slur. It's just saying you're basically just going to look at smut. That's all it's saying. The AI is actually the bigger offense in my book than anything else. Like, again, she's taking offense over, like, oh, I'm so offended on behalf of all gooners. All because you want to look at something attractive and beautiful. Look, I've put out videos that are nothing but talking about attractive characters, all right? Let's be perfectly honest. So, I think you need to chill out a little bit there, all right? I think you might be faking outrage. I don't think you really are offended by people talking about gooners. Anyway.
Look at all those pretty flowers. Oh my god, it makes me feel so happy inside that I'm seeing something so aesthetically pleasing to my eyes that are specifically designed to find things attractive that are colorful and nice and make me want to touch them or look at them. Wow, something must be wrong with me because my body is operating the way it should. It's as if
that's a very bad faith argument because you don't want to have sex with the flowers. Let's be perfectly honest. What is it about the flowers do you like versus what is it you like about the human physical form? And also, why do you need so much AI in your video? Like there's so much you could be doing otherwise. There's so much you can use aside from AI generated imagery. There's so many anime clips, video game clips, works of actual effort and design. Like, right in the first 30 seconds, she's putting up so many different false equivalencies. Already you know you're going to be in for a rough 15 minutes. But I digress.
The people finding issue with this are aliens or something. And most of where you've seen that stupid discourse come into play in reference to gooning is usually in gaming.
You know, goon used to be a noun. It used to be how some dudes would refer to their friend groups, like me and the goons just hanging out. Now it's been permanently tainted, poor choice of words, by the insatiable lust of the internet. Goon is now a verb. You are no longer a goon, you now goon as an action. And as a person, you are a gooner.
Every time a game features attractive
Are you going after quite? Okay, that's a choice.
character models, people accuse players of being interested in it for gooning purposes, as if finding a character design appealing somehow invalidates the rest of the game.
Stop gooning. Oh my god. Are you a gooner? Seriously, are you gooning again? Literally all you do all day is goon. You're obsessed with me. All you do is repost gooner pages. You repost me. All you do is goon.
It's the same tired argument we've seen so many times before. Any game that lets players create or appreciate sexy characters is immediately dismissed as shallow or immature, or you're catering to the gooners or the male gaze. Gooning now seems to
Your message here seems very confused. Are you talking about your personal experience, or are you talking on behalf of someone else? Like, this feels like a cry for help. I'm not gonna lie. This feels like unnecessarily whiny about a topic that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying already? Like, here's the thing. No one in the world is like treated like a social outcast for that. In fact, many make a lot of money. Hell, someone in chat works for someone who specializes in very sexy art. And that's a business. And it's totally legitimate. I'm calling you out, Wave. I'm just kidding. Kinky Machine's fantastic. Love her work. Yeah, and she also congratulated me on the 100K subscribers too, which is pretty cool. Which is great. But like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. No one cares. When they talk about gooning, okay, let me rephrase that. Some people care. But what you really want to be talking about is kink shaming. Now, kink shaming is a substantial problem. You know, kink shaming is an issue where you're judged for any form of attraction or what specific things you're attracted to. That's a problem. That's a form of serious refusal to understand people and what they like and what they want, etc. However, the problems come in when you act like that's the only thing worth discussing. You know, there's a lot of complexities at play here. But again, let's see what she has to say. 'Cause I'm not sure yet if she's complaining about personal experience or if she's trying to appeal to an audience primarily of gooners. Yeah. Oh yeah, if Kinky were available, I'd ask her to join in on a conversation about like this topic. If it was the beginning of the stream. I should try streaming with her. That'd be fun. I feel like it'd be a fun conversation. She's easy to talk to
be associated with ugly people that aren't happy that they're not getting attention. But is gooning really wrong? Take Mecha Break, for example. The game is gaining attention not just for its mechs, but also apparently for its character creation system. You can see some clips of that in Slager's video, and it actually allows players to make very attractive characters. Like, look at this. This should be bottom line, by the way. This should be the lowest common basis for games with character creation. And as you can see here from his video, apparently you being able to make your character fully customizable is a problem. I like it.
Hang on. 4 body types, that's it? That's not fully customizable. That's like very limited customizable options, actually. Like, here's the thing. I don't think that's really customizable all that much if it's 4 body types, you know? Granted, I mean, Baldur's Gate also has the same factor, but like, it's the plug suits. You design the plug suits. Also, you don't see the designers frequently in the, when you actually look at the outfits. And there are many games out there that are just like vastly designed for smut in mind. And that's fine. That's totally fine if that's what you want. But also, you're looking at like one-off tweets and acting like this is like somehow super offensive that they're saying, hey, it's a ripoff of this game, but for gooners. Like, is that really that big a deal? Like, does that, one guy said on Twitter, does that really constitute an entire video? Does that merit a video response? I don't know about that.
Personally, because I like jiggle physics. I like that. I mean, it's customizable, so you have the option to do with...
Okay, you can customize Wasteland. How much can you customize Wasteland?
You will with your character. You would think this isn't a bad thing, right? Because that's...
How much can you customize hip to leg ratio? How much can you customize arm length, leg length, height? Can you add muscle? You know, what's the proportions there? There's not a whole lot of customization there, actually. It looks kind of bland. Like, it looks like it's just like slightly like small boobs to big boobs, small butt to big butt, and then that's about it. Like a lot of basic character designers. When they have, it's not like super customizable. It's not like you can add like birthmarks, or you can add like different interesting customizable options. And that's fine, but it's not a necessarily big component of the game, considering that, you know, you're playing a mech and not the physical character. Like, you're not looking at the character all the game. You're looking at the mech that they're piloting. Like, that's not really I don't know.
Most of what people had an issue with. They're saying, well, if you're doing character creation, it's just the character creation, so it shouldn't matter, right? But some people take issue with it.
First thing Tyler likes to do.
Let me see what that says, actually. I want to read that message. 1 second.
Character creation is just the character creation, so it shouldn't matter, right? But some people take issue.
Okay. Yes. Mecha. Okay. A tweet with 2 likes that 116 people saw. Reflective of common opinion. Yeah. The 2 people who like this really are the public opinion you gotta make a whole video about. Yes. Mecha Break, aka everything Scum's wishes, Ember could be if it actually existed enough to be something. This is just more proof that most of these grifters don't actually play games or haven't for years. Did that filthy gooner ever even play Stellar Blade or Wukong? Hang on a second. This is a tweet about Grums. This is a Grums tweet. This is just making fun of Grums. This isn't a tweet about gamers in general. It's just making fun of Grums. And just Grums. It's a response to Grums. He's right there. Altiori, did you really look at the responses to Grums talking about this game? Find comments that you could easily isolate and slide them on screen so quickly that no one actually read them through? Grums made porn. He actually made it. What are you talking about? Like, are you seriously arguing that this was somehow, like, reflective of common opinion? Jesus Christ. I'm gonna let some super... I'm not sure if it's like 1 or 2 supers. Let them play through real quick.
Unga _ Bunga 9615 super chatted $3.41. No Skylar, I am not in Gooners, I am the Gooner. A goon opens his door and gets gooned on and you think that's me? No, I am the one who goons.
I am the one who goons. But yeah, no, it's just Grums. That's the only person you're defending here. No one is attacked. Now it makes more sense. Okay. This was an appeal to Gamergate 2, at least the last remnants of it, because this video probably dropped after Grums was already exposed as a pornographic video maker. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
With it.
First thing Tyler likes to do when he wakes up is immediately goon. After Tyler goons, he goes to freshen himself up. He likes to wipe off his sperm from his stomach from the last gooning session and use it as toothpaste.
So a Twitter post I came across claims that Mecha Break is relying too much on aesthetics, with critics arguing that
UGXGC super chatted $2.73.
Right?
2 likes from 116 views. The peak popularity ratio.
Yeah, there's like nothing. Who cares what they have to say, Altiori?
Dr. Zulu Gaming super chatted $7.27. There is nothing wrong with gooning unless gooning is your sole personality.
Exactly. 100%. Oh, subtitles for the guy's clip. I don't think you want to see subtitles for that. I'll put subtitles on, but like still. Here's the problem. Altieri's making this for Gamergate 2, guys. That's it.
That its hypersexualized designs detract from the game's creativity and depth. As this post says, the discourse around it reflects a broader culture war in gaming, where enjoyment is often politicized. Positive previews exist, but concerns linger about the trend of monetized live service games over meaningful single-player experiences.
That's way more important, that last part. The live service thing is way more important than gooning. Fair enough, we got it up.
And then they link to the article by The Gamer, interesting name, and its title says...
Oh, I used to write for The Gamer. They're a Valnet company. Yeah, that's yep, that's the peak of writing quality, a Valnet company. Valnet has the highest regards in this household. We love our Valnet companies. Mecha Break character models aren't a victory because nobody cares. Yeah, no one cares. No one cares about Mecha Break except for Grums. I have never played this game. This is not a game anyone's talked about outside of the weekend it came out. Mecha Break is not a substantial draw that you seem to think it is.
Mecha Break's character models aren't a victory because nobody cares, which is hilarious considering they clearly care enough to write a whole article about it. And in this article, they complain that while some players are discussing the mechs and upgrades, others are focused on the character models, and they acknowledge that people are excited about the ability to make attractive female characters, but brush it off with this weird passive-aggressive kind of dismissal. And it's kind of funny.
You see, while people interested in actually playing Mecha Break are talking about the range of mechiness and pricey upgrades, others are only concerned with the character models. These custom characters are pretty, hyper-stylized, and have jiggle physics for days with sliders in all the right places. You can make hot women. This may make a few people angry somewhere, but it's bizarre that this is taken as a win against people like me who just don't care. What's the issue? Altieri, he's criticizing you. He's criticizing you, someone who acts like this is some big deal or some fight you have to wage against the common people, or Grums. This doesn't matter. No one cares. That's the big difference. No one cares if the game has attractive models. It doesn't matter because gamers are more concerned about microtransactions, about live service games that manipulate and exploit audiences for profit. That's the issue. That's where the conversation matters. Like, yeah, you can make beautiful women if you want. Those games exist, and you can do it right now. But you can also make beautiful women in Baldur's Gate 3. And Baldur's Gate 3 isn't a live service game that you have to pay extra money for upgrades for. It just doesn't matter.
That they're concentrating on this while they also acknowledge that people are talking about other things. It's just one faction of what people are talking about, but they're focusing on this. But in this part of the article, it says these custom characters are pretty. Oh, you acknowledge they're pretty. Okay. Hyper stylized and have jiggle.
Did you just read this for the first time in this? Did you like just word search jiggle physics or whatever and like read it for the first time? Okay.
Physics for days with sliders in all the right places. You can make hot women. This may make a few people angry somewhere.
Wing of Shoe super chatted $2. I have Battletech and Elgaim. I don't need MB.
You know, I'm actually curious about more mecha-based games. I want to play the new Super Robot Wars. I heard it's really good. I like Super Robot Wars in general because I like the recognizable IP, but more mechs are good. I like mech games.
But it is bizarre that this is taken as a win against people like me who just don't care. The contradiction here is freaking insane. If nobody cares, or if you specifically don't care.
What's your
Solar
point?
super chatted $2.03. Gonna go back to start. Just want to say hi.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna pause supers real quick so we can get through some of this. But yeah, no, there is no contradiction here. This makes total sense. Altieri, there's no contradiction. It's the idea that you skipped the part that this may make a few people angry somewhere, but it's bizarre this is taken as a win against people like me who just don't care. This sentence right here is the most important. This may make people angry, but it's bizarre that you're treating it like this big deal when most people don't care. That's the point. There is no contradiction at all.
Why is this even a discussion for you? Why is it a discussion, period? Why is it always framed as bad or a bad thing when players enjoy good character customization? The fact that you're...
That's not... Altier, can you read? Can you read? Are you incapable of reading and comprehending information? The point is not that it's bad that you enjoyed it. The point is that people are parading with this game to act like it's some win. Like, the only way you can come to the conclusion that you're making is if you deliberately are misleading what it said, and you assume your audience isn't actually critically engaging with what you're showing on screen, or can do something called pause the screen and read what you're showing on screen.
You're even saying this means that you do care and you are making it an issue by claiming also it's not an issue for you. The article...
No, he's saying the issue is people who act like it's a win against people like him who don't care. That's it. Not that the game exists and has beautiful women in it, but that people are acting like it's a big deal that the game has beautiful women in it. That's the big contrapoint. That's the big controversy. The game itself doesn't matter. What matters is the conversation around the game and how bizarre it is for people who are mostly indifferent to it. That's the conversation. Like, yeah, game's fine, I guess. Why is it such a big talking point? That's the point of confusion. The fact you can't comprehend that implies you might not be that great at what is being said. Game's fine. Game's fine. But also, the journalist probably assigned the topic. That's the other factor, too. He probably didn't even want to write the article because he was being paid $5 to write it. You know? Valnet rates.
The writer is being so dishonest when they say, oh, it's bizarre, it's just taking a win against people like me who just don't care. You're acting like... or they're trying to distance the personal address, but they're acting like their indifference is this universal stance, when in reality they're ignoring the fact that plenty of people do.
Plenty of people. Let's see what they say right here. They're correctly pointing out that Mecha Break is literally just gooner bait with the thin veil of something resembling a video game lazy plopped over it. Yeah, they're saying the game's just lazy, just bait. 55 people read this. No one cares. By the way, this video came out in around February. So this tweet was up for a few days at this point probably, and had a couple different tweets on it. This one, I can't actually enjoy Mecha Break after realizing it's just Fortnite, but as an Armored Core knockoff with extra gooner bait. The gooner bait is a last note. It's the Armored Core knockoff that's the bigger deal. But Altiori's reading this and going like, oh no, the big deal is it's gooner bait. Yeah, all 2 people. Yeah, 1,000 people read this and 19 liked it. Real mass response here to the anti-Armored Core bullshit. Mecha Break, I'm sorry. This is such... Why do you care? It's tweets. If I tweeted right now the dumbest thing in the world, I can get people to like it in a few minutes. If you tweet something in a big conversation, someone's gonna like something. I'm just pointing it out there. Who cares? It's a mecha game.
Do care. It's not just people somewhere. It's a decent amount of them. That's exactly why gamers who like...
Oh yeah, all 19 of them. I'm sorry, all 20 of them really care.
Like attractive characters see this as a win in the first place, duh, because there are people out there who genuinely have a problem with characters being too pretty, and you're clearly one of them, Stacy.
Stacy doesn't give a shit. Stacy said she doesn't care. Hell, she said the characters look nice. Like, what is your point?
Right? Because if Stacy here truly didn't care, she, whoever, wouldn't be writing a whole article about it, like I said.
Again, Stacy only cares about the conversation around the game, not the game itself. Also, why be so damn personal about it? She's just a writer. Like what the fuck's your problem? Like you're what are you doing? Shaming her for wearing glasses? Like you're being really fucking weird, quite frankly.
And trying to frame the excitement around the whole character customization as some kind of overreaction by people who are saying they like it and are only part of the discourse among the people saying they like the game for other things as well. The art.
No, that's not what she said. She says you're being weird for treating it like a win. Are you treating it like a win? If not, she's not talking about you. Basic logic. What is your problem, Altiori? Jesus. You are so aggressive over nothing. This is such a nothing conversation, but you're so up in arms about it. Jesus Christ. What is over like what? Like a tweet with 19 likes? Oh my goodness. Or tweets making fun of Grums? Is Grums really the... You really putting it all in the line for Grums? The guy who can't finish a game after like, what, 7 years of like crowdfunding for it? Where all he'll do is release a PNG of a hot lady in the game and call it a day and ask for more money for the game he's clearly never going to finish. While his backers wait longer and longer for anything they funded to come out. Grums. That's the horse you're backing. All right. Let some super chats play because a bunch just came through.
Dr. Zulu Gaming super chatted $3.64. I've played SRWY, it's pretty good.
Hey,
Combattler V is my favorite mech.
Okay.
Gozu94 super chatted
$5.
The problem with Mecha Break is the pilot customization in the game is heavily monetized, which kinda killed it at the end.
Oh, that's a big factor. So you have to pay to have all the customizable models. Okay.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Her audience probably just goons to her voice TBH.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be it.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Zoom in her PFP when you won't post face is crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
SM Jida super chatted $1.99. Altiori is dating Stacy's mom and got called out.
I can make a bunch of jokes about that one.
Angry Clippy super chatted $5. I watched Altiori video bashing Nintendo's BS patenting game mechanics. That she was okay until this nonsense.
Yeah, I've heard that she used to be like a Dragon channel, right? That's, I mean, based on what Oddly Knower has said anyway. Like, also, this is clearly just Asuka from Evangelion. Like that is just Asuka. Again, a game that had predatory practices to get money from the players with microtransactions, to buy more costumes, buy more assets. And that's the game you're promoting. That's the game you're defending. The game that is littered with microtransactions and thus exploiting its audience for more cash to sell you things the game should have put in the game's, original launch version. Okay.
Dr. Zulu Gaming super chatted $3.64. Are you gonna do a stream on Josh Scorcher's top 10 2025 fails because, boy he falled on the grifter rabbit hole.
I would love to do a Josh Scorcher stream because I keep hearing about him, thanks to his former association with Lily Orchard, and I've never actually watched anything he's ever done. But I feel like I kind of can guess what he makes based on context clues. I am curious. I do want to. I've already fought with Lily Orchard. Might as well fight with everyone involved in that story. Anyway, she was allowed to change Dragon Jurassic Park and Bond channel until Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it feels like there's nothing here that she enjoys about this. Like she's not saying what she actually likes. Guess we also have connection. Wave. Did you also edit for Josh Scorcher? Did you also edit for Josh Scorcher? That'd be fun. I would enjoy a conversation with Josh Scorcher. I'm curious. I was joking mostly, but now I'm curious. Not directly.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. This feels like Gooner vs. Lily Orchard.
Yeah, more of a pick me than Lily, I think. I think it's unfair. I think she's aware of what she's doing. This is a grifter.
Wing
not
of Shoe super chatted $2. Too much gooning in the cockpit can be messy.
Well, that's isn't that the plot of Evangelion? I'm kidding. Well, that's the plot of Nadesco again. Nadesco, I think. I'll arrange it though. That'd be interesting. I'd be curious. I would like to get a sense of Josh Scorcher's style before I say do it. Wait, I'm curious now. At least with the manga comment, we both have different opinions on some things, but I think we both have good chemistry. We can get along. I don't know. I know nothing about Josh Scorcher. With manga, I feel like when we had the debate, we both kind of went in going like, okay, we know what we want to talk about. We can set some ground rules, and then he's a cool guy. I like manga. I have no idea about Josh Scorcher though. I feel like. Yeah, Manga Comment also gave a hearty congratulations for crossing 10K, 100K today. Yeah, Manga also doesn't want to get involved in that whole commentary thing. I hear you there. Yeah, but Manga gave me a congrats. Who else gave me a congrats? Crimes New Roman gave me a congrats. Red Bard. Sister Lily, of course. Lady Emily sent a congratulations. There's a few of the creators too. I gotta go through everyone. There's a few. Skitty Bitty sent a congrats. Lazy Bedhead, of course, on stream. Coke Francis. Kiki Mation said already. Yeah, there's a few. But no, it was great. Yeah, Moncon was really he's a good egg. I feel bad for what he's going through right now with that whole Art CC stuff. It just sucks. Art CC drama sucks. Anyway, so let's keep going with this.
Article then claims that enjoying the game out of spite is not enjoying it at all. But who said that it's out of spite? If people are genuinely happy that
Altiori, did you even read Stacy's article? She's talking about people who are using the game as a win against mainstream gamer culture. You have to be deeply disingenuous to read this and twist what she's saying. Yeah, Coke Francis is great. And Coke Francis may be showing up on the channel sometime soon. They might be making an appearance in the next few weeks, we'll say. Yeah, Altiori's just rambling. She's not saying anything meaningful.
the game allows them to create sexy characters, especially when so many modern games restrict that. It's not some grand political statement. It's just people liking what they like. And I know doing something that you're probably not used to, which is being excited over something that you find positive.
No, again, Stacy's complaining about people who act like it's a win against gamers. That's all she's talking about. How can you be this way?
Writer's trying to make it look as though she's above all this and that it doesn't bother her or he, it, whatever. Let's just say that. But they still take...
Just look up Stacy's pronouns, all right? It's not that complicated. You have to make a big joke about it to dehumanize your opponents and like, oh, how terrible is she? Meanwhile, you can't read a fucking article, okay? Let's not talk about pronouns when basic grammar is eluding you at this point, all right?
The time to criticize the game's cartoonish proportions and claim that Mecha Break is reductive because it allows players to make hot characters. So it just feels as though you're doing the snobby girl thing, which is to say, I don't care. His girlfriend's, yeah, she's prettier than me, but she's a slut, right? You didn't know that, right? It's not.
No, it's not what she's saying at all. How could you be... I'll tell you, just because you want to will it into existence by looking at isolated comments out of context, even that doesn't change the fact that the article parts you show the complete opposite of what you're talking about. Jesus Christ. I'm already tired of what she's talking about. Okay, let's finish this video up, and then we'll wrap it up and call it a night.
Not like I care. I don't know why he's trying to make me jealous and make me look like an idiot. I don't even care, though. But then she keeps talking about that stuff over and over again with all her friends, even though she claims to not care when she clearly does care because everybody else has moved on from the topic or is talking about everything else but that, and she's still hung up on that one very thing that she keeps saying repeatedly that she doesn't care about. Weird. But the real...
Nothing you just said made any mattered at all. Oh, May! Oh, okay, hang on. May from Overwatch. Now I'm interested.
Question that I keep...
Oh, come on! He clicked away from... Ugh, that's depressing. I like May. I like May. May's one of my favorite characters from Overwatch.
Scorpion Wolf super chatted $5. I've known about Josh Scorcher since the early 2010s. First video was a collab with Kane vs Alex Rishon aka the Autark, top 15 most hated characters.
Still gotta watch Josh Scorcher. I've not seen anything he's done. Sorry, Wave.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Imagine Tony Soprano watching, reacting to this vid.
That'd be rough. He might have no He might just be gooning, actually. Tony Soprano would goon.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. Transphobes be lazier than the people they mention.
Yeah, seriously. It's always lazy. It's always lazy. And of course, Altiori commits the greatest sin of all, which is cutting away from May. Why was that cut so weird? Wasn't that weird? Like, look at that.
Question, and she still hung up on that one very thing that she keeps saying repeatedly that she doesn't care about.
It's a really strange cut, right?
Weird. But the
yeah, it's like a second.
real question.
Why was that so quick? Why was that May cut so fast? Like, that was, like, really quick, right? Like, it was like a frame of May. Why include it like that? That's strange. Huh. Anyway, oh, and the super chat came in.
Cassie Hosh super chatted $1.88.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Aunt. Arrived kinda late BC class, so just came to congratulate for the 100K.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've been here since the Your Fav Media has always been woke vid. If LWK feels like seeing a cousin graduating lol.
Yeah, no, that was my early ones. Yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, thank you. No, but it like, yeah, no, that was sweet. Yeah, words, English. That was really sweet. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's surreal, right? I don't know. I'm just being weird. But no, yeah, what was up with that cut? I'm still backed up on that cut. Like, it's really strange. It was like it's almost like she took another person's edited video, slotted it in, and then forgot to slice May off to make it look like a one continual image. Weird.
That I keep asking is, since when does sexiness make a game less creative? Since when does the ability to design an attractive character mean the gameplay is automatically bad? Because that's what...
What? No, people are saying that your mech game was bad because it ripped off another game and had microtransactions. That's why they thought it was bad. Gooner bait isn't bad because it's Gooner bait. It's bad because it makes people buy microtransactions, which makes them buy extra stuff for the game. That's why the Gooner bait is bad, not because Gooner bait is inherently anything. It's because it's a predatory tactic that draws players in to waste money on stuff they don't actually need that should have been included in the base game. That's the problem. Also, why did you cut away from May when talking about attractive characters? May's adorable.
What it seems as though the person who wrote the article is implying. People argue that games should have artistic freedom until that freedom is used in a way that they personally don't like. The real
strange cut, like a brief amount of tracer, and then they cut away. What is with these weird cuts of Overwatch characters? Like, it's frames. It's like less than a second of Overwatch, and they cut to something else. Why is that? Isn't that weird? I mean, I think that's weird, right? Okay.
Issue isn't really mecha break the game. It's the ongoing culture war in gaming where anything deemed too sexy is treated as a problem.
Okay, first off, they were making fun of Aloy the entire time, saying she looked like Nikado Avocado. And here's her whole body, in case you want to know how much of a BS claim that was.
While games with bland, lifeless character designs and ugly designs get a free pass as
what's ugly about this, Altiori?
Is treated as a problem while
What's ugly about this design, Altiori? What is it? Synthetic Man kind of said it himself pretty articulately what he didn't like about this. What don't you like about this design specifically, Altiori? What about that's ugly, Altiori? What about it is bad? Just curious. She looks fairly beautiful to me. What's bad about it, Altiori? What's bad about it? What's the problem? What are you not saying?
games with bland, lifeless character designs and ugly designs.
Lifeless designs with all the facial expressions that she has on screen right there.
Get a free pass as long as they're respectable enough. And I'm sorry, but...
Okay, Lara Croft... Okay, whatever.
People are acting like gooning is some new epidemic in gaming, but the reality is characters have always been attractive, at least for the longest time until...
No one is saying it's new. Not... One of the very first games of all time is Colonel Custer's Revenge from the Atari 2600. Gooning has always been a part of video game culture. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. She's just saying shit without any actual concrete backing to what she's talking about.
Very recently. And what about Love in Deep Space? Why don't these people have the same exact energy for that game? Love in Deep Space, which I have played and is still ongoing for me, can be seen as a game wrapped in gooner bait by these people's logic. And I hate the freaking word gooner, man. It's like the word grifter. It just sounds like a bunch of religious zealots trying to shame people for enjoying things.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. People do call Love in Deep Space gooner bait. But the people who play Love in Deep Space don't care because they know what they want to get out of the game. Like, here's the thing with this game. The audience enjoys the game for the intended purposes. They don't care if you're saying they like the game for the reasons they like the game. Oh my goodness, you're just yapping. Yeah, it's a good game. People, hey, listen, if that's the game you want to play, that's cool. No one cares. It's fun. Have fun with it. When I was at Anime New York City, there were so many fan artists selling very explicit prints of characters from this game out in public. Everyone was fine with it because you accepted that the game was what you wanted. It was popular. It got its target audience. That's fine. Also, most importantly, the audience of Love in Deep Space don't act like liking it is a big deal or some win in the gaming industry. Basic differences.
So, for all the dating sims out there and for all the sexy games like Love in Deep Space that cater mostly to women, even though I know some men have an issue with this, why do people care? Men or women that have an issue with it.
There you go.
User 225 super chatted $4.99. If these grifters cared about defending goon games, they would raise hell over Steam kowtowing to payment processors' censorship. They never will, though.
In fairness, Altiori did put out a video about it. There were people who did talk about Collective Shout, mainly on the right wing, though. I'm one of the few left-leaning channels that really talked about Collective Shout.
With this, why do you care so much? We have a whole sect of people on the internet, specifically women, who are going on about how hot Silas is because he is very freaking hot. Like, what they tried to freaking max out everything they could with this character.
Stay on your toes. Such arrogance.
That's the most watched part of it, huh? Wow, the people who came here mostly want to watch this segment.
That my freaking face gets hot every time I freaking watch these freaking videos, man. Seriously? What is wrong with me? Anyway.
What is wrong with you playing one of the most popular mobile games right now for women?
Forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Shit.
Like,
to be fair, he is the main reason I downloaded the freaking game. And I was actually shocked to find out that there was like legitimate gameplay that like came with the game.
Altiori, just edit out the parts where you're stumbling. Also, you said it yourself, the game has gameplay and doesn't involve as many. I mean, it's a gacha game basically, right? That's what it basically is. Those games are built in with that kind of predatory whale approach where they want to make you spend money. But a game like Mecha Break, which should not have so many microtransactions, is different. So there you go. Just do another take. Just edit it out. It's fine. You're not live.
Was in the game. Part of the game. Is it the greatest game, even in terms of gameplay mechanics and storyline? Definitely not. But yes, the eye candy is 80% of the game, or rather, I'd say 90%. And I think people, especially dudes, that make a big deal about this and call it a...
Again, 149 views. No one cares. This isn't a big deal. Jesus.
Black Rabbit super chatted $4.99. I won't argue just the chase for high fidelity, realistic graphics hurts game development, and it makes for overall boring aesthetics.
Yeah, I agree. It's just make games like, I don't know, the high res stuff is boring, I think. I don't know. This is boring me. I don't like this video anymore. It's just exhausting me. Yeah, Altieri, just make topics that matter. You know, just make a video that matters. I don't know. That just seems like such a boring topic. Does gayness belong in kids' movies? And you have an image with Superman and a... What is that? That's not a That's not. It looks like either like a velociraptor's head on the body of a brontosaurus that's slightly taller than Superman, and a gay flag behind it. What? I'm not clicking on it. It's garbage. But like, what? What are you? What? My brain's broken from that nonsense. I'm sorry. That's too stupid for me to even engage with. Yeah, her channel has gone downhill bad. I'm sorry to say. She has over 500,000 subscribers. Used to get millions of views, but the grifting has plummeted her channel down to nothing. Like, it's basically killed her entire channel. That's actually really depressing. I'm not going to lie. That's really depressing stuff. She basically fell down the grifter rabbit hole away from monsters and all these cool stuff. How many videos does she have out? She has about 1,000 videos out. And she used to be nothing but dino videos, but then she went down the grifter rabbit hole. She got successful with a video on Ant-Man's daughter and a video on about Dustborn. That was her big hit. And then she drifted away from... almost none of her popular videos are non-monster related. Yeah, her most successful videos are right here. Women are mad that men aren't hitting on them. Okay, well, that's... odd. Yeah, this is a really depressing channel. I'm not gonna lie. This actually bums me out looking at.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Sad. It looks like she used to have real passion.
Yeah, let me see one of her old videos. I'm curious now. This is actually really depressing. I'm not gonna lie.
We've done quite a few videos on A Quiet Place, the film by John Krasinski, starring himself. And we've always been wondering the theory as to what these monsters actually are. This video does have spoilers in it because we'll be discussing some of the stuff from the movie. If you've already watched the movie and you want to check out our video called 10 Issues with A Quiet Place Movie, which does have spoilers, please click on the card above. Numerous people have been speculating and theorizing as to what the monsters are in A Quiet Place. They could be aliens, they were known as death angels in the movie, and some people really thought that they were aliens because of a meteor shower. But
wow, articulate, clear, concise, focused. Man, that's depressing. She's being calm. That's the difference. She's being calm and passionate about it. That's sad. That's actually really bumming me out. I'm not gonna lie. That actually makes me really depressed. Wow. She's not ranting. She's not aggressive. She's not like frantically attacking random tweets online. Man, that's a bummer. That and the editing is a little better. That's just depressing. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's and she's had successes since then to an extent, but like nothing as big as that. Yeah, like she has a couple hits every so often, but most of these are like 20,000 views, 13,000 views, and like being so short, they can't be getting a lot of attention. That's a sad one. I'm not gonna lie, that's really depressing. Oh well. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm running out of steam today. I've had a long couple of weeks, been making videos nonstop. I will, however, give you a preview of Friday's video, because Friday's video is going to be a response to a very different video, though. I'm going to play a segment from Friday's video real briefly. Rather, I'm going to play a segment from the video I'm going to respond to.
So a really big, ugly evil like Morgoth or Sauron is actually very accurately described as a kind of void. Big evil that is almost utterly absent of good would be like a moral black hole that absorbs all light and has a kind of magnetic pull.
So, if you know what video that comes from, congratulations, you saw Westside Tyler's response to the same video. But we're going to be engaging with a literary discussion. So, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Second Story we're responding to this Friday. A channel that I think has become extremely popular, extremely fast. Oh, there's Westside Tyler. Oh, yeah, Westside Tyler, you're in the chat. Excellent. Yeah, so Friday's video is going to be a response to Second Story. Westside Tyler, shout out to him. He also did a response way faster than I did to Second Story, though he focused more on the Hannibal Lecter stuff than I did. I do mention Hannibal Lecter, of course, because, you know, oh, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, no, so we'll be talking about Second Story on this Friday. And if I stream next week, which will depend entirely on if my spouse gives birth or not before the next streaming date, I'll let you know, all right? And thank you so much again for everything. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. It's thanks to your audience that I have an audience. You know, it's thanks to you guys I make videos, and you're some of my most frequent viewers, so that means a lot. So thank you, everyone, for sticking out for as long as you have. And here's to 100,000 more subscribers. Thank you so much. Have a good one.